release of toxic gases. It was the latest danger from Mount Kilauea's eruption, which geologists say is among the worst events in a century from one of the world's most active volcanoes. The Puna Geothermal Venture Plant, which provides about 25% of the power on the Big Island of Hawaii, has been closed since shortly after the eruptions began May 3rd, and some 60,000 gallons of flammable pentane used in the plant's turbines have already been relocated. Workers are trying to shut down the plant's 3 wells, which at 6,000 feet and 8,000 feet underground tap into extremely hot water and steam used to run turbines and produce electricity. The county of Hawaii said a berm was holding back lava flowing northwest toward the plant, and crews expected to cap 2 of the 3 wells, but were having difficulty with a 3rd well. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Mere days before his upcoming relocation to Denver, Colorado, 4-year Chicago resident Paul Marsden admitted today that he wished he had taken a little more time to truly loathe the city he has lived in for nearly half a decade.
You know, I've been here for a couple years, but now that I'm finally leaving, I realize I never really got to hate this place.
Marsden confirmed that in the time he's lived in the city, he never quite managed to explore his own shitty neighborhood, adding that he regrets never getting to know the stuck-up workers at the cafe down the block, never visiting the overpriced bodega on his corner, and never becoming violently ill from the food at the crappy Mexican place across the street from him.
You know, I lived right next to that bar for 4 years, and I just wish I took more time to abhor the disgusting smell that hits you every time you walk by. I'd always heard this place blows. Guess it's a shame I never got to hate it like I should.
For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Stand for it.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us here on the radio, and you can bring up anything that you want. The toll-free number, as always, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. The Skype username here is lrn.fm, and we've got the Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. It's Ian and Mark in here as we normally are on a Tuesday night, but Johnson, I asked him to take the night off because I wanted to make room for Vin Armani, who is joining us here. Joining Mark, you've never actually met Vin. Did you meet him at an Acapulco?
No. I feel you look familiar to me though. So I've seen. There's a lot of reasons why you look familiar.
Vin, we talked way back at 2017 Anarchapulco. I had you on the show at that time, and I think, Mark, you were out doing jiu-jitsu with Roger Veer at that moment, so that's why the paths didn't cross.
I was sick at the time, too, so it's best that we didn't meet. Then you could have got a cold.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And you didn't make it out this year to Anarchapulco.
No.
Because you were in the middle of planning your move to New Hampshire.
That's right.
At that time.
That is correct.
You've been here, what, about a month? 3 weeks? How long have you been here now?
No. I think it's actually, it's more than a month. It's probably about 5 weeks at this point. Yeah.
5 weeks in New Hampshire. Having moved from Vegas, having ended your career as a gigolo?
I think moving to New Hampshire, you basically retire yourself as a gigolo. I mean, whether I want it or not, I think I'm basically retired at this point.
That sounds accurate.
I don't imagine there's that much business out here for that. Certainly at the level that you were doing it.
Not like Vegas, that's for sure.
You were on a Showtime series.
I feel like there's a lot of congruity here because I spent a lot of time in corporate America getting effed.
As a salesman for Clear Channel?
That's right.
There you go.
So you were on television. You did a six-year run on Showtime's Gigolos.
That's right.
Which followed what, you and like a few other guys, four or five?
Well, yeah, the cast was always an ensemble cast of 5, but there were some switches throughout. But I was on for all 6 seasons from the first episode to the last episode. So,
did you have TV experience before that?
Not really. Mm-hmm. I had been on TV, like I had done some little. I had been on a couple of game shows. I'm from Southern California, so I had done some extra work and some things like that when I was younger.
I see.
And but I had, I've got a theater background, and I think I'm pretty good in front of a camera. I had certainly done production.
You're a handsome man.
Well, thank you. As are you. I had done I'd done video production. I'd been in the entertainment
industry. Work too.
We're not supposed to talk about that.
Okay. It's not nearly as exciting as yours. Go right ahead.
So no, I mean I had been in the entertainment industry. I music, and I had done video production, and so. No, I felt comfortable going into it. I certainly felt comfortable going into it.
And then at some point you launched your own show, the Vin Armani Show.
That's right. We're almost. It'll be 2 years in October.
Okay.
So it's been.
So it was basically just before Anarchapulco. Was kind of just a few months before is when you.
That's right.
2017. So
that's
late,
right.
Late 2016.
Late 2016. Yeah.
What motivated you to start the Vin Armani Show?
I was a hacker starting at about the age of 15. And this is the early days of the internet. This is mid 1990s, and I was running across a lot of sort of counterculture stuff, and the hacker ethos as well. So, I've been an anti-authoritarian for a very long time, and certainly anti-war from the beginning of sort of the Iraq War and whatnot. I was one of those people in the streets in LA, and.
I wish I could say the same. Frankly, I was sort of tricked in the early part of the Iraq War, and I feel some level of responsibility for it all, frankly.
No, first day that the bombs were dropping, I was out at the Federal Building, and there were people out there putting their bodies out there. I wish that particular segment of the political spectrum would be a little more anti-war nowadays, but I guess we had 8 years of BS in that regard. But I've been very much anti-state, very much libertarian. I'd consider myself an anarchist for sure. And
would you consider yourself a voluntaryist?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Because I see the circle V in your logo. So
absolutely, yeah. And I think that that's a better term to use.
Too.
People are pretty scared of the term anarchist. I mean, from a technical standpoint. So no, I call myself a voluntarist when asked about my sort of political persuasion. But so I was a software developer, and then there was no real reason for me to put my political views too far forward publicly. But then from 2010, when the show started, and I was building up a public persona, I really kept politics out of it.
Yeah.
And those are and just being particularly in the dating industry, being a professional dater, it was like, when you're on a first date anyway, politics and religion is the third rail. So I did keep those out, but then
I imagine,
yeah, once the show was over, and I think once I really felt confident that I can do and say what I want, and I can take this public persona where I want to genuinely take it, then it was like, I've got a lot of things to say. I started doing some little rants online, and the guys at activistpost.com, they reached out to me and they said, hey, would you like to do maybe a podcast? We're trying to start doing some podcasts. And I was like, I got another idea for I've been on TV. I want to do a video thing.
Sure.
And
that's where all of the action is.
Exactly.
For whatever reason, yeah.
Yeah, so it turned into that, and it's evolved, and I think now it's become much more of a crypto show more than anything.
Yeah.
And that my background is as a software developer, so it makes a lot of sense for me. It's something I'm very passionate about, is the technology side of this whole thing. So
we can get deeper into that.
Sure.
Again, Vin Armani's joining us here. He's got his own show over at vinarmani.com. Let's go to the phones, though. I got AC on the line. I think he's calling us from Ohio. AC, are you with us on Skype?
Can you hear me?
Hey, you're on the air. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, so I just saw this story in my Facebook feed, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about it.
Okay.
So apparently you guys are very familiar with the controversy going on with the NFL and the whole kneeling thing for the national anthem.
Is that still going on?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's like old news at this point, isn't it? I didn't know there was still...
I thought the battle lines had been drawn and the troops went back to their bivouacs. Go
What's
ahead.
the latest development? Because, I mean, it seems like it's been 2 years since Colin Kaepernick, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was him.
Took a knee, and then there was all this support and hate, and all of that happened. I mean, that was like 2 years ago, right?
It was 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
He talks about how he's upset about the police, and then everybody says, "But the military." I'm not talking about the military, but the military. It's the strangest argument.
So what's going on now? What are the more recent developments?
Well, a couple months ago, Donald Trump talked about how he wished the NFL would fire people who don't stand for the national anthem. That was one thing. But apparently the NFL is talking about the possibility of, if the anyone who doesn't stand for a national anthem, they will have a 15-yard in-game penalty
that's
put
weird.
towards them. Yeah.
What?
That's very strange.
So if two people, then they're back, I don't know where.
30 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah, they made that. That may be like a.
So,
yeah, they're in the end zone.
When does the penalty get brought? I mean, is it a kickoff? Then you can't go back too much farther. If the punt is received or the kickoff's received at the 20-yard line, do you go back to the fifth, or do you have to go? I don't even understand.
It doesn't really say. I mean, it's just something they're thinking about, which I hope they don't do. But if there's been a lot of these nationalistic conservative fascists who are just all upset because they won't stand for this stupid song. And to be fair, one of the things I thought about is that all this controversy over this thing, this is something these conservatives really brought on themselves. If they hadn't made such a big deal of Colin Kaepernick doing it, and I don't even entirely agree with the reasons why he did it, but
that's true. Yeah, if Colin Kaepernick had just kneeled at that game and everybody had just rolled their eyes and did nothing and said nothing, it would have been done.
It wouldn't have blown up like this.
Yeah, that's a great point, AC. If you had more on this, I don't know if you do. More. Stand by. We'll bring you back here for that. More coming up here. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, you can bring up anything that's on your mind. Also on the way, the Venezuelan election, which we haven't really talked about what happened there yet. 855-450 free like freedom. This is Free Talk Live. You can join us here.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Blinkprotect.com/FTL to save 15%.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by Voluntaryist for Voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm.
If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. LRN.fm now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Ian and Mark in the studio as normal. Vin Armani joining us on the third microphone from vinarmani.com. He's got his own show that airs on Mondays, if I'm not mistaken.
Mondays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern.
So you do your show live.
I do.
But it's also a video show, and it's available, of course, later on in archival format, and there's a podcast version.
That's correct.
Well, which, as of this week, has started airing on LRN.FM.
Which, thank you so much. That's amazing. I'm glad to be a part of that.
It is the Liberty Radio Network. For those that aren't aware, you can go and check that out any old time you want to. Free Talk Live brought to you by Bitcoin.com. Maybe you are new to cryptocurrency. You want to learn the basics about crypto? Start at Bitcoin.com. What better URL could there be to go and visit and learn about Bitcoin? But also you can get the latest news headlines from their news site over at news.bitcoin.com. Maybe you're old school. You know about Bitcoin already. You don't need the basics, but you want to know what's going on. They've got that every single day at news.bitcoin.com. And you're a big Bitcoin crypto advocate, and we're going to get back into that because today is Bitcoin Pizza Day, and that deserves some discussion. But we've also got AC on the line. He's called in to bring up this kneeling controversy with the NFL, which apparently is still I pay no attention to sports whatsoever, so I don't know what's going on. It's very rare that some sort of sports drama will cross into the realm of Free Talk Live. But every now and then, we'll become...
The Knapernick thing certainly was one of them.
This one definitely did. So apparently it's still happening. And you're saying, AC, that there's a proposal from the NFL to penalize teams that have kneelers on the field, meaning that they would be pushed back 15 yards for each person who's caught kneeling during the national anthem. Did I understand that correctly?
Well, it says here that if just one person on the team decides to do it, it's just a 15-yard penalty.
Okay. That's it, just one time. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
But
So
if
it's
more
like
than one does it?
If more, well, it just says if someone on the team decides to take a knee, then they're gonna punish the entire team for the 15
just like grade school.
So it's like
where one person in that class.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You took the words out of my mouth on that one.
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to make some kind of hazing occur.
I've got a story about hazing too, if you want to talk about that. All right, AC, what else did you want to say about it? Go ahead.
Yeah, like the thing about it is I kind of a little more on this whole kneeling thing. The people who get upset over this, these, butthurt snowflake conservatives, it's like, you know what? I mean, I'm not into sports. I don't care. But if I did, I would personally be bothered by, because, the thing that would bother me personally would be the whole nationalism, flag waving, and the military worship. That would be bothered me, but it wouldn't bother me to the point where it's like, I'm not going to watch football anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'd still watch him. It's like, I just don't care. It's like, and you think these people, these fascists that get upset over this, you think they could just, roll their eyes like you were talking about in the last segment and just get on. But no, and because they made such a big deal out of what Colin Kaepernick did, it blew up into this huge thing to where even Donald Trump has has reared his ugly head by saying they should be fired.
Well, it makes people very uncomfortable. The idea of breaking out of the mold and
it's
doing
the one true religion in the United States is
statism.
Patriotism, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, the government, and this was something we were actually talking about at a recent local libertarian meetup here in Keene, is this, the idea of statism as a religion, that, essentially the belief in the state is a fantasy. I mean, I'm not against religion. I see this as an evil religion. This is a religion that justifies the use of aggressive violence against peaceful people. Your typical religion, they just have a belief about the universe, they have a belief about God and creation and all that, and they kind of keep it to themselves, or they try to, let other people know, but they're not putting a gun to anybody's head to force them into the church. Whereas with the government, if you don't do what they say, somebody with a gun is going to show up at some point, and they're going to hurt you, possibly, if you don't go along with whatever arbitrary diktats that have been handed down on high from, men who believe that they believe in this thing called the state. The people who work for the court system, the judge calls himself the court. He doesn't say me or I. He says the court. Mm-hmm. He's talking about himself as
in the third person as
the court,
as an organization.
It's when weird. You talk to the prosecutor, they will say they are the state. They're not correct. The prosecutor. They're not Joe Smith. They're the state. The officer is the state who wrote you the ticket. They believe in something that is greater than themselves that doesn't provably exist. It's totally a violent, dangerous, evil religion.
Well, football has become so much a part of the state at this point. I mean, I think it would be fair to say that the Super Bowl is a national holiday, that it is a national holiday. It's part of the religion.
Pretty much.
You look at the ads during that period of time, besides the typical, what you would call the typical American cultural icons that are there, tons of ads for the military, the Air Force, Marines. I mean, the Marines ads are all over football games, which is the thing that bothered me so much with Colin Kaepernick, was that here you go, you've been playing this entire time, and you're worried about, I mean, it really did devolve into a very sort of racially divisive issue, but it's like you were happy to be standing this whole time during your entire career, and you've got Air Force jets flying overhead while innocent brown people in other places, including American citizens, are being killed by drones.
At least one of them, yep.
So I didn't see, and the military is being advertised right over the top. I don't see you kneeling for that. I don't see you demanding that they take the ads down for that. So to me, this is a very hollow expression, and the expression that came back from the other side is such a hollow expression. Yep. It's entertainment. It's professional wrestling, really.
Well, so
at least in professional wrestling, you got people like Glenn Jacobs, who's an actual libertarian.
I'm saying.
Well, so I mean, for one, the fans in professional wrestling can allow the bad guys to be bad guys, and then like the good guys. In this case, apparently the fans of football can't say, "Oh, somebody has a different opinion than me." Right. They can still play football.
Right.
They've got to get off my field. Right? Like that's the reaction to it. However, Vin, I'd say that, just because Colin Kaepernick doesn't have the depth of understanding of the issues that perhaps you do, doesn't mean that he doesn't need an opportunity to express those ideas.
Sure. And we all start somewhere.
Right.
Sure.
And so, I mean, for me, I don't necessarily agree with every statistic that surrounds the Black Lives Matter movement. I can understand the points of view, and I'm ready to have a conversation. But I think there's some nuanced points that need to be made. But on the other hand, if I were I can put myself in the shoes of a black American and say the national anthem, which is a song that in the third verse extols executing escaped slaves, I'm going to have a real problem with standing for that thing.
Well, I would like to, as a black American, I'm half black and half Mexican myself. Okay. Yes.
I knew you some variety of brown.
Right. I'm a little racially ambiguous. Colin Kaepernick, when this whole thing happened, I did a YouTube rant calling it, and the title is "The Tragedy of the Half-Black Quarterback." Here's something interesting as we're speaking about this whole thing. Kaepernick was pretty much led down this path that he was led down because he started dating a woman who's very high up in the. We can talk about it when we come back. It's a very interesting story about Colin.
AC, thanks for the call. I appreciate you bringing that up here tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. Skype username. If you want to sound as good as AC there, Skype username is lrn.fm, or hop into our Discord on-air call-in line room at discord.lrn.fm. This is Free Talk Live.
Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10 years shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
A Japanese-American internment facility was still in operation in the mountains of Northern California. The facility should have been closed in 1945 and its 6,000 residents released, but unfortunately the camp was overlooked until this week. I am happy to announce, however, that the remaining 118 detainees have now been fully exonerated of suspicion of spying for General Tojo, and they have been freed. Next item of business. The President will be meeting with the Australian Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd. Yes, Denise?
This is a huge oversight. How could this have happened?
Well, Denise, it looks like the camp just somehow slipped through the cracks. The end of the Second World War was a hectic time in America, and it's only natural that we let a couple of things slip in our excitement over defeating the Nazis.
Who was going to be held responsible for this?
Congressional investigation?
No, there won't. In fact, the War Relocation Authority was responsible for the decommissioning of the internment facilities, but that organization ceased to exist in 1946, so no.
This is the Onion News Network.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And Skype username, LRN.FM. Plus our Discord on-air call-in line room. You can hop in there over at discord.lrn.fm. And if you're a libertarian, if you're a voluntarist, if you are a liberty-loving person, if you're an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, then you need to know about liberty.menu. Libertarians for a long time have been asking, and they've asked us on the air, what do you guys recommend to find a liberty-friendly business? How do I find businesses that are actually freedom-oriented? Well, up until liberty.menu, there really wasn't anything worth talking about. There were a couple of attempts that were kind of lackluster, and they didn't really go anywhere, and they didn't really look that great. Liberty.menu, easy to use, it works well, and it's free. So really there's no reason not to put your own business, whatever it is that you do, up on liberty.menu, because then you might get some new business. You might get business from libertarians that didn't know that you existed prior to them finding you on liberty.menu. Plus,
free advertising. Who can argue with that?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. And also events coordinators. If you've got an event coming up, you want libertarians to know about it, you can put that there. There's a category for that. There's also a category for digital content creators and more. And of course, there's also ratings and reviews, and there's even a little bit of a social network aspect to the site. You go to liberty.menu, add your stuff there any old time you want to, and use code FTL, and you get a special badge for your user profile there. Again, we can't give you a discount because it's free. So liberty.menu.
You can give any discount you want because it's free.
There you go. Liberty.menu, check it out. So, Vin, you were just about to tell us a story regarding Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick. Yes, which as an individual who's a multiracial guy, right? Half black, he's half black, half white. An interesting story, and to preface it, I would say that it's unfortunate that the issue of police violence became racialized partly. And really, in many ways, blew up, and this issue became divisive when he really had an opportunity to unite some people around the fact that police violence is a problem, no matter what race you are. And
exactly.
And him in particular is that, and most people don't know this about him, while he is biracial, he was given up for adoption. I think he was born in somewhere in the northern Midwest. I want to say either Minneapolis or Milwaukee. He was given up for adoption and ended up in the Central Valley, adopted by a white family.
Okay.
Completely white family in a town that's like maybe 2% black.
Okay.
Raised around agricultural town. They couldn't have children, and they had so they adopted him. Then they actually wound up having 2 more kids after that. He was raised by this all-white family, treated fantastic, taken through very lovingly, all-white coaches in a mainly white town. Raised up and
probably really is a he's a great example as to how when you just single out race, that I'm not saying that it's all peaches and cream being a black guy in America. I'm not going to say that at all, but there are other aspects that make that go into this conversation surrounding privilege and all that other stuff.
Well, and one of the interesting things about it is that it's like, here is a guy who was raised and while he says it was difficult for him always being with this family, that he would walk into a place and obviously he looks different than the rest of the family, and that was difficult for him.
Some people are going to have questions, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure, like, but that
he's a friend.
He always said that he was raised in a wonderful manner. And really loves his family, and they love him, and they supported him, and all of that. And I think that it was really a moment for him. But he's a young man, right? These are the things that you have to learn over time. At the time, I said this is going to be such a tragedy because of all the people who could, instead of dividing, whose story is actually a story of uniting,
right?
Of individualism, of stepping beyond race. That, wow, not only did you take the opportunity to divide, but you're going to lose your career over this. And he did.
Did he?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. I mean,
he became he's not playing anymore.
He's not playing anymore?
No,
okay.
he became completely toxic to any team. And it's like that I think that it just goes to show, and it's proof that of course the state wants to divide. It wants to divide along racial lines. To do that. Always to divide along racial lines. But this was, of all the people in the world, right? Here you are, a star. in a great market, in a very diverse market, in a very liberal market that would have taken and ran with this idea that he was like, no, okay, it's a problem for all of us. Let's talk about police violence. It's not just a problem for black people.
And why was it that he chose to take it down the Black Avenue rather than the
Unfortunately, he had hooked up with a woman who is, I believe she's actually a radio host as well in New York on a hip-hop radio station, and she is a pretty militant, very sort of divisively racist individual, and walked him down that path. Now, I could have some sympathy with him coming from that environment as a young man, really never having the black experience, also never really having the experience of his father. And so I could understand of his biological father, right, who's a black man, trying to discover that. I can have some sympathy with him in that regard. I mean, I was raised in Southern California. I was raised in a mainly Latino place. Obviously, I thankfully was able to spend a lot of time with my father, so I had that experience. But I also went to Howard University, which is a historically black university.
Yep.
And getting there, it's not like I had been raised in Atlanta or Chicago in a black neighborhood. And so getting around really all black people for the first time, not in a mixed or environment, and there being a degree of militancy and some Afrocentricness. And of course, you want to explore that aspect of your culture. I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're Irish and you end up back in Ireland, you're going to want to explore what is this aspect of my culture if you're going to university in Ireland and all of this, right? So
I think especially when you're younger, you're trying to figure out what you are in the world.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can look back rather than looking forward. I don't think it's the best direction to look necessarily, but I get it.
Yeah, and so you couldn't expect Colin Kaepernick. I believe at the time he was maybe 23, 24.
Yeah.
And he had been, a pampered athlete his whole life. It's not like he really had a chance to discover himself. Here he's an independent man. He's trying to discover himself. He winds up in this situation. It's unfortunate because really nothing positive came out of that, and the person who ended up being hurt the most was him.
Yeah.
I think it's a prime example and a place that we can all learn and gain some wisdom that had he stepped out and had he been a uniter, he wouldn't have been a pariah. He probably would have been, at this point, one of the most popular players in the NFL.
I mean, people were still going to hate him because anybody that goes against the state religion is hated, right?
Sure. But I think it was less about it. Well, it was compounded by the fact that he made it a racial issue.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
So it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and I think that there are plenty of non-black people who were perhaps previously his fans who felt like he was attacking them.
Or leaving them out in the cold or whatever.
Exactly.
I also think there's a lot of black people. I mean, I can say, I met a lot of black men who had done the military thing, who had, effectively, they understood they were black, but they swam through white culture, if you want to use that terminology, without too much difficulty. And they came out the other side saying, yeah, those white people don't understand what it's like to be black, but they're all in all not bad about it.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's the vast majority of people, which was why it was such an unwise move for him to make. It
sounds like he was trying to please his girlfriend.
Well, that happens.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's a very real thing. Yeah. I mean, how many people haven't had some opinion or another in the world because some woman, likely one that they're either dating now or recently were dating, had that same opinion, and you were convinced. And by the way, same direction on the other side.
Yeah, right. We've got a state representative here in New Hampshire who moved here as part of the Free State Project. This Liberty Migration. She was an anarchist when she moved here. Her boyfriend at the time was an anarchist. She now has a Democrat boyfriend, and she's gone full-on Democrat.
That's
and has turned against the Libertarians.
Shame.
Not just gone Democrat and kept quiet about the Libertarians, but actually come out and insulted the Libertarians. So we've had her on this show before, multiple times. 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Still to come here tonight, the Venezuelan election. But first, Bitcoin Pizza Day is today. What does that mean? We'll explain coming up.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. Tony Wright is a perfect example of the power of DNA. The Innocence Project litigated for almost 6 years to get the court's permission for DNA testing. Tony had been incarcerated for nearly 25 years in Pennsylvania and narrowly escaped the death penalty. Tony's case, sadly, is not unique. Empowered with the unequivocal proof of innocence provided by DNA technology, the Innocence Project has litigated hundreds of wrongful conviction cases, leading to the exoneration and freedom for more than 180 people through DNA testing. Overall, there have been 356 DNA exonerees in the United States who were wrongfully imprisoned for more than 4,875 years in total. You can help support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry in the New York City Marathon by going to run.freetalklive.com.
If you or anyone you love has been diagnosed with lung cancer, asbestosis, or mesothelioma, your diagnosis may be the result of job-related exposure to asbestos, and you may be entitled to compensation. Over $30 billion in trusts have been set aside for individuals who have been affected by asbestos exposure. How do you protect your rights and get the compensation you deserve? Call Capital Legal Group now at 800-400-LUNG. Capital Legal Group is one of the nation's resources for settlement of lung cancer and mesothelioma cases. Law firms have successfully recovered over $2.7 billion for their clients in all 50 states, and claims have been paid in as little as 60 days. If you or a family member were diagnosed with lung cancer, asbestosis, or mesothelioma, call Capital Legal Group now at 800-400-LUNG. We'll open a no-cost case review on your behalf. A history of tobacco use or cigarette smoking will not disqualify your case. Visit 800-400-LUNG.com or call 800-400-LUNG. Call 800-400-5864 now. That's 800-400-LUNG.
The warning signs.
At first, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Ovaltine. Give your kids the nutrition they need to be their best. Visit us at ovaltineusa.com. Telling your child about healthy food choices is important, but showing her what to eat goes a lot further. Have her help create the grocery list, then bring her to the store with you. Picking out healthy foods together helps kids get in the habit of thinking about what they're eating every day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The Skype username is LRN.FM. We also have Discord. What is Discord? It's a chat service, and it's free to use. They've got voice chat and text chat. Most people are in the text chat most of the time, but sometimes after the show, some of our listeners will kind of get together in one of the voice chat rooms. It's a way for our listeners to connect with each other and also some of the hosts of the show. So I'm in there pretty much all day, every day. Mark, you kind of make appearances whenever you feel so inclined, and some of the hosts are, again, there more often based on their own preferences. But it's free. You can get in there, and there's, last time I checked, over 600 registered members from the service. Not all of them have come back, but about half of them tend to visit. About half of them tend to visit like over the last week, basically. So we think we've done all right. We've created a relatively popular libertarian chat room service, and there's different rooms like cryptocurrency discussion, gaming, Forkfest, New Hampshire, liberty activism stuff. So if you want to connect with other listeners, it's a great way to do it, whether it's before, during, or after the show. Just go to discord.lrn.fm, and it's also another way that you can actually call into the show, because again, there's these voice chat rooms in there, and so we have one of them set up as our on-air call-in line. So if you want to sound the best, if you want to sound almost like you're sitting in the studio with us, it's got that level of quality. So check it out over at discord.lrn.fm. It's Ian and Mark with Vin Armani with us in the studio. Let's go back to the phones and to the fun here. We got Phil in New Orleans. Phil, you're on Free Talk Live, and you're watching us online at cam.freetalklive.com. Go ahead. Whoa, my God.
Talk with you, Ian.
Sorry about that. You were a little loud there. I think it was on our network side. Go ahead.
Nice to finally chat with you, Ian and Mark and Ben.
Yeah, please.
So, a lot of people migrated.
Do me a favor. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Phil. Back off your phone just like maybe an inch or two. It's just a little bit overmodulated. I appreciate it.
Okay, is this any better?
That's
a lot better.
Yes,
Sounds
sir.
great.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Just saying, have a lot of people migrated to New Hampshire from warmer climates, southern states, and been successful in acclimating to, the kind of the scene there. Like I usually tend bar. I've worked in restaurants a lot. of just wondering about the whole Shire movement and how accepting people are in the New Hampshire area of, just different cultures. How's the nightlife there? Is it a good? Keene, New Hampshire is a good party town?
Keene is not a party town. Keene is a quiet little town. Keene is a quiet little town in the southwest corner of New Hampshire. There's not a whole lot that goes on here. It is a college town, so there's a bunch of college students here for about 3/4 of the year or whatever. There are people who say that the nightlife is more of a thing in Manchester and Portsmouth. Portsmouth is sort of renowned as the music city. There's a lot of live music.
I say there's plenty of nightlife in Keene. It just may not be what you think of nightlife. It's not a lot of dancing, but there's certainly lots of bars.
There's bars in all kinds of places.
I understand, but that's nightlife.
Okay. I've never heard anybody say Keene is a place that I'm just saying. I mean, I love Keene, and I'll defend Keene, as a great place to live, but it's not the place where you go for nightlife in New Hampshire. That's what I'm told by people who come from Manchester and Portsmouth, okay? Vin, you're brand new to the area, you're in Nashua. I mean, you've been here 5 weeks. What's your impression of that city? Because it's the second largest city
of Nashua.
Yeah, in New Hampshire.
No, I dig it, but I mean, I'm also, I'm coming from Las Vegas, so nothing is going to
no showgirls. We don't have showgirls.
No, nothing is going to match that. But and it's also, I think it's a little more of a family town. Certainly, if I was but I'm here with my family.
Right.
If I was,
you're not looking to go to a club with your wife and 2-year-old.
No, not tonight,
right.
Not tonight. Yeah. But I have done a bit of the nightlife in Portsmouth, and I really enjoyed myself, and also in Manchester as well in the wintertime, and it was popping. It was definitely. I mean, it's again. I'm not the person to ask, having spent the last 8 years living in Vegas. It's like you say nightlife. I could just walk down the street and it was crazy, but. I mean, it's certainly it seemed like there was a lot going on. Bars packed, certainly tons of them with DJs in them and live music.
And this was during the wintertime when presumably people would be more interested in not leaving their house.
So I did Manchester in the winter because I was here for Liberty Forum, but then in the fall was when I did Portsmouth, and it was rocking. Yeah. The whole little downtown area.
Busy.
I mean, I went to spent some time at a club in Portsmouth called the Red Door, and actually I'm a huge house music fan. Some of the best house music I had heard in a long time, packed full of people.
You're a DJ, right? I think I saw that somewhere.
Yes, since a very young age.
What's your DJ name?
Ameno, Ameno, but I don't really DJ under that anymore. So I just DJ under Vin Armani now.
Okay.
So I mean, I've got the brand. Why rename myself?
Phil also asked about sort of acceptance and that kind of thing. What about as a person of color? What's it like nothing.
I mean, I think it's been. I think particularly in Nashua. Nashua is an interesting city because it's got so like Oracle is there, BAE is there. It's all these sort of tech companies that I guess are sitting on the border to get away from the taxes of Massachusetts
taxes. Yeah,
but it's a super. Particularly, I'm like in the southern area, so I'm just a few blocks from Oracle, and I go down to. First off, it's really kind of hip and upscale, but I go down to the local coffee shop and it's more brown people in there than white folks. So
Nashua is probably one of the more diverse cities in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Here in Keene, it's like
not so
96% white, and the rest of it's mostly Asians.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit of a beautiful drive to get here, but it is nestled into. I was so shocked when it opened up. This is my first time in Keene, right. So when it opened up, and I was like, oh, this is a kind of a cool. College town, like it's really, really beautiful town, but certainly on the way here, I was not expecting it to open up into this town, man.
It's a pretty little kind of idyllic New England.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to make it seem like a person of color would have to end up in a city in New Hampshire simply because cities are where people of color go. That's to me ridiculous. I would, however, I would say that basically Keene's going to be just as welcoming as are most towns, to my mind, because I can only see the people that I know would shame someone greatly if they attempted to ostracize somebody based on their skin color. That's what my experience is. I don't know what it's like, for anybody else anywhere else.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, just having lived here now for, 11, 12 years or whatever, I remember reading a story in the Keene Sentinel, not a story, but a letter to the editor, it was a local newspaper, written by a black woman who had actually moved up from our hometown, Mark, of Sarasota, Florida. And she wrote a letter saying that she was leaving because she felt as though she was being discriminated against on the streets of Keene. Now, I don't have that experience. I'm not black, so I don't know what that's like. I had to take her word for it from that particular article. But she was so frustrated that she ended up leaving Keene, and she cited this as her reason for leaving.
Did she say did she cite a specific incident?
People were apparently saying things to her on the streets.
Really?
Yeah, which was surprising to me because that's one person's experience.
Sure, okay.
Right? And then I met another guy who was kind of like the token black guy in Keene at the high school. He wasn't at high school anymore, but I met him through a friend of a friend here in town, and I sat with him and I said, I told him the story about this woman's letter that I'd seen in the Sentinel. I said, you grew up here. This lady had moved up from Florida. I said, you grew up here. What was it like for you being the only black guy at Keene High School?
Sure.
Because where else are you going to experience nasty behavior, right? Except for at a high school, right?
Middle school.
So yeah, what was it like for you? And what he said to me was, he said it was fine. People treated him with respect. It was just, for them, the way he described it was, these people had only ever seen a black person on television.
Right.
So it was kind of like a weird thing of this person's different, but he's still a human being, and they still treated him fine. So he was, he's still living here. He didn't leave the area or anything like that. He made friends, and everything was fine for him. So obviously, different people have different experiences. So I don't want to candy coat anything about what might happen here.
But I also think that if you go looking for a bigot, you find a bigot.
True.
That's and
maybe that was what she was doing.
Sure. Well, what I'm saying is that people are people anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that if you approach the world in a very defensive way, particularly if you're a bit of an outsider, if you're looking for somebody to rub you the wrong way,
you'll find them.
You bring it, and
you'll
you
attract
also
that.
bring it on yourself,
yeah.
right? So it's like, granted, it's no mystery that if you were to move to Keene and you are a person of color,
right,
that you're going to be in the vast minority. But that also doesn't mean that there's any particular threat or that you're going to be treated. Now, here's the thing about it. You're also exotic.
Right.
So
that doesn't hurt.
It's about how are you going to approach the situation. If you approach it defensively, like maybe people won't like me, that's one thing. But if you approach it the other way, like, hey, I'm going to play this up for everything that it's worth. There's a positive to that too.
No doubt about it.
Yes, there
Did
is.
that answer your question, Phil?
I think we talked
about that. Have a little vacation time coming up this summer, and was just gonna thinking about searching around. Really enjoy you guys' show and your ideas. And
well, Phil, go to the Shire forums at forum.shiresociety.com and post when you're coming up. We'll make sure we have a meetup for you. Thanks for the call tonight. There's more coming up.
It's It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keenan, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.60 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,295 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $33, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,178. Antiwar.com reports U.S. forces may not be leaving Iraq or Syria, but there aren't a lot of the Islamic State targets for them to hit anymore. This has led to a precipitous decline in the number of U.S. bombs dropped on those two countries and has the military's priorities shifting eastward towards Afghanistan. The Islamic State has lost virtually all of its meaningful territory, and to the extent that the group's forces have fled into the desert, they still aren't convenient targets for U.S. warplanes. In Afghanistan, the U.S.-backed government controls only about 50% of the territory, leaving open a lot of enemy territory to target. In recent decades, the Pentagon has kept Afghanistan in its back pocket for when things slowed down elsewhere. When the 2003 U.S. occupation of Iraq slowed down, a surge was announced in Afghanistan. When the war against the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria ratcheted up, Afghanistan was on the back burner, but now is facing new escalation. Unlike the Islamic State, where their control over territory was always very tentative, the Taliban has a lot of territory in Afghanistan in which they have a long-standing stranglehold and where they won't be readily displaced. This makes Afghanistan every bit the long-term project it was 17 years ago when the U.S. first invaded. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Walmart topped the Fortune 500 list released on Monday, and Amazon made the top 10 for the first time. The 64th annual Fortune 500 list ranks America's largest companies, representing 2/3 of the U.S. GDP, with $12.8 trillion in annual revenue. The companies on the list employ more than 28 million people. Walmart, the number one company on the list for the 6th straight year, is the first U.S. company with $500 billion in yearly sales. The retailer closed 63 Sam's Club locations locations in the United States to focus on other areas such as online shopping. The closed Sam's Clubs are being repurposed as delivery centers. Amazon, the e-commerce giant run by Jeff Bezos, ranked number 8 with nearly $178 billion in revenue, which is up from number 12 with $136 billion in revenue last year. Fortune attributed the gain to an increase of $70 billion in revenue over 2 years, overseas expansion to markets like India, and growth of Amazon Web Services. ExxonMobil and Berkshire Hathaway ranked number 2 and number 3 respectively on the list with $244 billion and $242 billion each in annual revenue, respectively. Walmart and Berkshire Hathaway also topped the list in 2017. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com. Reuters reports lava from the erupting Kilauea volcano on Hawaii's Big Island flowed towards a geothermal power plant on Monday as workers scrambled to shut it down to prevent the uncontrollable release of toxic gases. It was the latest danger from Mount Kilauea's eruption, which geologists say is among the worst events in a century from one of the world's most active volcanoes. The Puna Geothermal Venture Plant, which provides about 25% of the power on the Big Island of Hawaii, has been closed since shortly after the eruptions began May 3rd, and some 60,000 gallons of flammable pentane used in the plant's turbines have already been relocated. Workers are trying to shut down the plant's 3 wells, which at 6,000 feet and 8,000 feet underground tap into extremely hot water and steam used to run turbines and produce electricity. The county of Hawaii said a berm was holding back lava flowing northwest toward the plant, and crews expected to cap 2 of the 3 wells, but were having difficulty with a 3rd well. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Turning to health news, doctors at Johns Hopkins Medical School have discovered that bones are the coolest part of the body. The 10-year study found that although the body has many cool things in it, nothing is cooler than your skeleton.
Just think about it. You have this soft, fleshy body, but inside of it, there's a second, tinier body that's made out of a super hard rock. Our data is conclusive. Bones are very, very cool.
To conduct the study, researchers examined every single body part and determined how cool or uncool it was.
We initially thought the brain might be the coolest part because it's like a computer that runs on food. But when we looked at it up close, it was all gross and wrinkled. Brains are not cool. Bones are cool.
Doctors discovered that there are big, strong bones like baseball bats in your arms and legs, hand bones that look like a monster claw, and skull bones that make a scary face. Doctors did caution that as cool as human bones are, they're not nearly as cool as dinosaur bones.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. You, as always, are welcome to join us on the radio. Here are numbers 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or you can Skype in to join us. Skype username is LRN.FM. And we've got the Discord on-air call-in line room, which you can hop into through our Discord chat over at discord.lrn.fm. Joining you in the studio tonight, I'm Ian.
I'm Vin.
And I'm Mark.
And, of course, we'll take your calls about anything. But Vin Armani joining us here for the first time tonight. Thank you for coming all the way out, driving out from Nashua. So you've got another hour and a half you got to drive back. So I do appreciate you taking the time.
It's a beautiful drive, though.
It really is. Great time of the year to be driving in New Hampshire. And you just moved to New Hampshire. We kind of touched on this earlier. 5 weeks. You're brand new. You're part of the New Hampshire Freedom Migration, this kind of ongoing thing that's been happening here for officially for a decade and a half. But people have been moving to New Hampshire for a long time because of the freedom here. There are a lot of people who, prior to the Free State Project, prior to the Shire Society, people have been moving to New Hampshire because it is truly the live free or die state, and we do talk a lot about some of the cool stuff that's been happening here. You and I met back at Anarchapulco in 2017. Mark, you and I were broadcasting from that event. I was given the opportunity to speak on stage B, which was the stage that wasn't like being recorded in any meaningful fashion. But you were one of the people.
You'll crawl up on a stage if you have the opportunity.
Right. If I get the chance to talk about New Hampshire to a group of libertarians, I'm going to talk about it.
And thank God you did.
Yeah.
Because I probably wouldn't be here had that was my first experience getting the full rundown of what was. I had kind of heard of the Free State Project being a sort of around libertarians and whatnot, but it was not. It had never really been broken down and explained to me. And clearly, I mean, that's what you do, and you did it so well that I was immediately. Of all the things, clearly, it stood out to me more than almost anything else, and I was like, okay, this needs to get front of mind and on my radar. What's going on?
Yeah, you instantly wanted to learn more about it.
I did.
And you approached me after. I think it was right afterwards.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, oh, come on, we'll have you on Free Talk Live. We talked more about like what you do and Vin Armani show and your hit past with Showtime and all that. And that's what our interview was previously. And then you were nice enough to have me on your show, the Vin Armani show.
Which was great, thank you.
And that's where we talked a lot more about what was going on with New Hampshire, some of the cool stuff that's happening here, which it's impossible to encapsulate in even an hour. There's just so much that happens here. It's more than I don't even know what all of it is, right? Like I know I got my finger on the pulse of what's happening in Keene, maybe, but there's all these other people all over the state doing so much that I don't have even a fraction of the idea of what's going on. But there's been so many cool things that have happened here over time.
I think my all-time favorite is when the activists, one of them got arrested for doing a pot protest in Central Square, and the police took him back to the police station. The activists went to the police station, into the lobby, and smoked pot in the lobby.
Yeah, we sure did.
Okay,
that's amazing.
So I mean, talk about taking it to the government on an issue.
I love that.
I'm not saying that one should do that every day or something like that, but at the same time, there's time for retributive of activism, and that was the time, and it really worked.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. We've had some really epic cannabis-related civil disobedience, and we even made a movie about it called Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, and I could go on and on about that. But you, at the last time we were together, which was in Acapulco 2017, after that, you had me on your show, and you were kind of like, you liked the idea, you thought there was cool stuff happening here, but your attitude was like, well, I might move there at some point. I got to talk to my wife, and maybe it'll happen at some point in my life. And now a year later, you're here. So what happened with you, Vin, over the last year? What was your evolution, or what was the issue? What was there some sort of thing that pushed you off the fence? Tell me about what happened there.
Well, so after I met you, I met the former president of Free State Project like the next day.
He was also at Acapulco.
Yeah, I was speaking on that same stage the next day, and then he saw that. He invited me out to speak at Pork Fest, and then through that, someone was there who invited me to speak at the Free Coast Fest in Portsmouth, and then I ended up speaking at Liberty Forum in Manchester. What it really was, I will say, is it's the intangible. While you say there's a lot of things going on, but there's this intangible about being in a community of people who are speaking your language. Who it's you can't, until you experience it, you can't really appreciate just how comfortable you feel. And it's from that first moment, it's been nothing but, from the first moment of meeting you, it's been nothing but open arms and saying, come, and if you come, just ask for whatever you need, whatever support. So we'll find a way for you if you can get here, because and it's not just been that for me. Everybody that I've talked to who's moved has said this is the exact reason why I'm doing it. And it has been so genuine. Just the community has been amazing. And it is nice to not feel like you have to pull like you have to pull any punches.
Right.
Even just in your daily interactions, that it's like, oh, these are freedom-loving people, and I don't know. I feel at home.
It turns out that the New Hampshire natives tend to be pretty freedom-loving. They are.
Yeah.
So it's not just the Free Staters or the Libertarians or whatever. The whole New Hampshire native community tends to lean towards freedom in general. So that's a nice thing to have as well. It's great. And the reason why the community is great is because it's large.
Yes.
There's a large group of libertarians and voluntarists, and however they describe themselves, anarchists, some of them describe themselves that way, that are here, and it just keeps getting bigger over time. And I think I said off the air, the nice thing about being here is there's so many libertarians, you can be choosy about who you hang out with. Whereas, where I came from, there were Libertarian Party meetups, and maybe 5 to 10 people would go to these meetings and complain about the government. And then every 4 years, they'd run a couple of candidates for office. They'd get 2%. And then they'd go back to complaining, and then 4 years later they'd run, for office again, and it was just like this stupid, pointless cycle of banging your head up against a brick wall. And then, of course, if there's somebody within the group that you don't like, well, you either quit or you try to grit your teeth and work with that person, because there's nothing else you can do. There's no other group. There's no other options. It's just this one, small cadre of people who care about freedom enough to get together at Bennigan's on a Monday night or whatever it was and complain about things together. And that's not an uncommon experience for the libertarian pretty much anywhere in the United States. Even in big cities like L.A., you're pressed if you can find more than 20 of them that will get together for any kind of gathering. And of course, none of them ever get any kind of foothold politically. They don't ever have any success. They don't ever get any mainstream media coverage. Whereas here in New Hampshire, I can't tell you how many times our people have been on the front page of the newspaper. Will Coley, you just met him tonight. He's the host of Call to Freedom. That's the show that comes on before us on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. He was on the front page of the newspaper this week.
Wow.
We've had articles about Bitcoin on the front page of the newspaper here in Keene, New Hampshire. I mean, so I can't even go through this laundry. And to tell these things to libertarians, it's like some of it just washes off their back, like, water off a duck's back. It's like they don't believe it. They don't believe that it could be true that New Hampshire actually has 3 sitting state representatives who are libertarians in the Libertarian Party. More than all the other 49 states combined. In addition, you've got libertarians who are like principled voluntarists who've run as Republicans, and there's a couple that ran as Democrats as well. But you've got them the libertarians are infiltrating the other parties here. Libertarians in the United States complain because the Republicans are infiltrating the Libertarian Party. Well, we've reversed that here. There are so many libertarians. Some of them are like, well, I don't want to work with the Libertarian Party. I'd rather infiltrate the Republicans, and that's what they're doing. Personally, I prefer the Libertarians, but, everybody's got their preferences.
Yeah, I like the Republican Party because the apparatus is in place, and, that at this point, I would say it's getting darn close to 50-50.
So you would say it was coming here and actually experiencing, having a dipping into that community and feeling what it was like to actually be around people who care about freedom enough to do something significant, right? To uproot themselves. This isn't just a group of people who's going to go vote every 4 years. This is a group of people who are going to do whatever they can do, whatever they're called to do. They can do it here because they've got the backup. They've got the people. If you need resources, if you need people, as long as they agree with what you're doing, some of them are going to sign on board and they're going to back you on it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Some of them might hate you for it, but, whatever. I've got plenty of people who hate me.
But it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Like I said, you can be choosy about who you associate with here. More coming up on the way. You're going to tell us about a pirate radio thing that you did in the past. It's Free Talk Live.
She's such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block, and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dinovite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies,
grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it,
and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dinovite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic.
Inviting you and your pets to Dinovite.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open the Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. You dial 911 and the police roll. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime, which is why I chose Blink. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Good technology is good, but the philosophy behind the tech is important. And Zencash was made by Voluntaryist with the ideas of voluntary interaction being embedded into the white paper. With no central authority or single point of failure, Zencash is more resilient than a traditional corporation. Everyone has an equal opportunity to participate in decision-making, which empowers stakeholders and makes Zencash less susceptible to third-party influence. And Zencash allows for secure private transactions. Learn more at zencash.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll free, take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've been talking about the freedom movement here, libertarians migrating, voluntarists migrating to New Hampshire because, hey, here's some news. Concentrating people in one area to have an effect on things actually works.
Fancy that.
It's not just a theory, it's proven fact at this point. And it was a great idea to, concentrate libertarians. It's not the first time. The Free State Project wasn't the first time the idea came about. It was just the first time it really gelled and actually made sense and people actually moved for it. And so now it's a larger movement. It's the New Hampshire Freedom Migration, attracting liberty-minded folks from all over the place. But voluntarism is a great basis for a lot of things, including cryptocurrency.
Yes.
And that's where Zencash came from. Zencash, like any other cryptocurrency, can borrow the technology from all the other cryptos. So they've got some of the best technology. They've got zero-knowledge anonymity, which means that you can send private transactions with Zencash. They've got, the great tech. They've got the decentralized autonomous organizations that they're working on rolling out, I believe, as we speak. I'm not sure what the exact status of that is. Right now, 11,000 plus secure nodes, more nodes on the Zencash system than in the Bitcoin Core system. So there's a lot to say technically, and of course there's a white paper you can go and read over at zencash.com that explains all of that. But also in the white paper, they mention voluntarism on more than one occasion. So the fact is you've got great technology and great philosophy built into this cryptocurrency from the very beginning. If you care about freedom and you love cryptocurrency and you're wondering what else can you get into besides Bitcoin, the big one, right? Like what else is there? There's 1,500 other options. You don't have time to look at them all. look at this one. Go to zencash.com. Learn more about it there. Once again, that's zencash.com. As we continue, we got Jonathan. He's calling us from Virginia. And Jonathan, you're listening via your phone. Go ahead.
Hey, man. Yeah, I live out here in Virginia.
Welcome.
And I'm a truck driver, and I come home about once every somewhere between a month and a half and 3 months, just depending on the time of year and what's going on.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Thank you for your service. Yeah, keep American rolling.
Well, yeah, that's what we do. So, yeah, I park my truck in front of my house, and I live in kind of a small town, I guess you could say, about 30,000, smaller than I'm used to. And I just park my truck in front of my house. It's a big, wide street. All we have in my neighborhood is on-street parking. There's no driveways where I live. And I've done it before. I've been doing it. I've been driving about 2 years now.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I've never seen a tractor trailer parallel parked.
It happens. Now I don't have the trailer. I just have the truck when I go home.
Right. I don't even know what to call the truck. The truck again. Big truck.
We call it bobtail. That's trucker lingo. Bobtail.
Okay. Bobtail.
So
okay.
I had the bobtail truck out there, just no trailer in front of my house, and it's been there about 7 days now this time around. And one of the nosy neighbors finally called into the police, the men with guns, and had them come out and have me move my truck or get a ticket. So it irked me. I realized I was breaking one of the city ordinances. I didn't know I was when I parked it there, but I realized I do now.
So where did you have to move it to?
Move it.
A parking lot or something where you rent a space? I mean, where did you have to keep it?
I moved it to another spot where I hope I don't get in trouble. It's a dirt lot on top of the mountain.
Would they let you park it on your own driveway? It was just because it was in the street? Like if there were room for it on your own driveway, just because it was in the street?
I suppose if we had driveways, I could get away with it. But since we don't have driveways, that's not really an option. Damn. It's hypothetical.
Do you know which neighbor it was?
I think I do, actually. The guy across the street from me, I'm kind of buddies with him. And I told him, I said, hey, man, this is what happened. He said, I know who it was. He said, the lady next to me, she's been here 3 years, and we have nothing but problems with her. He said, I don't even talk to her anymore. We don't look at her. She's called the cops on me a few times, the neighbor behind her a few times. She's just looking for trouble.
Miserable person.
Nothing is worse than a busybody neighbor like that who just has nothing better to do than get into the peaceful business of their neighbors. It's sad.
Absolutely. It just irked me, I was pretty ticked off about it, and it just reminded me of you guys and the victimless crime spree. There's no victim here. It's just a truck parked on the side of the road, a lot bigger than your little Honda Accord, but it's just sitting there. It's not making any noise, and I had to move it because of its size. So I just feel like that's kind of outrageous, I'm
with you. Absolutely true. So I guess you've seen the victimless crime spree then?
Not in detail, but I've checked it out a little bit.
You ought to. If you like the idea of it, you probably would actually really like the movie. It's an hour and a half long feature-length documentary film that I had the pleasure of being the executive producer for, and it was all about Derek J. Freeman's first year of activism here in New Hampshire, where he hit the ground running and got arrested 5 times in 1 year for various different victimless activities. And we made a movie out of it. There was just such great footage that came out of it.
I like it.
Yeah. You did watch it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Did you ever have Derek on your show?
I'll check it out.
No, I didn't. But I probably should.
Jonathan, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Victimlesscrimespree.com is where you can go. You can watch it for free. He's such a great activist. I mean, he used to be my roommate.
It's a great interview, too.
Yeah, he used to be a host on this show, but he lives over in Portsmouth now, so it's a long drive to come out here. And he's one of the proprietors of the Free State Bitcoin Shop. So
yes, which I've been in.
You've been inside that?
Yes,
okay.
of course.
Great. So like he can talk about crypto. He can talk about his experiences running the shop, which is like the coolest thing ever. Because we went out to Portsmouth for the there was a blockchain conference that actually happened there for the first time. It was the first time New Hampshire had one.
Last year
in December.
Yeah.
So we went out there for that, and we when we got there the first day, since the conference hadn't started, we broadcast from the store. So we set up our equipment there, and that was actually our second time doing that. We did that at their grand opening as well, which was a lot of fun. And it was so cool to just sit in that store and watch it happen. Watch the customers come in asking questions, total newbie questions about cryptocurrency. Just because they'd seen the store, they wanted to learn about it, and listening to those conversations that were happening between the store clerk, Derek J.
Super cool.
And these customers. And it's like, man, it almost made me want to quit doing radio so I could just sit in that store all day and work there as one of their employees or manager or something like that, and have these conversations with people all day long, talking about cryptocurrency,
great.
helping people install their first wallet, talking with local business owners who've come in and said, you know what, I want to accept cryptocurrency. That happened while we were sitting in there. There was this teenage girl that came in and she was like, yeah, she ran the sunglass store. There's like a sunglass store like right next door. She started taking crypto. Her parents are optometrists, and so of course she pitched it to her parents. She's like, yeah, now my parents want to take it. And so Derek's like, yeah, let's schedule a meeting. And
amazing.
So, boom.
That's great.
Just all day long.
Love to hear that.
Even during the wintertime. So he's got all kinds of stories that he could tell. And then, of course, he could go back and talk about the Victimless crime spree, which on its own was something else. So, yeah, check that out over at victimlesscrimespree.com. You engaged in a victimless crime, apparently running a pirate radio station.
I did.
In California?
In Los Angeles for 2 years, as a matter of fact.
How do you find space on the dial? I mean, it's got to be pretty busy out in L.A.
Well, it wasn't at the time. It was on 87.9 FM, which is like the first thing on the dial. And up from there is 88.1 FM, which is like a jazz, relatively large jazz station. But at the time, 87.9 was very free. And the transmitter that we were using, we did not bleed over onto. We made sure that it was dialed in very, very well. And so, yeah, we ended up running for 2 years. It was actually
that's a long time for a pirate.
Well, we can talk about it when we get back. But it's an interesting story, very interesting story.
Absolutely true. I love pirate radio. It's one of the things that got me into just regular radio was being interested in people broadcasting without government permission. Our toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Of course, you can bring up whatever you want. Plus, it's Bitcoin Pizza Day. We still have to talk about what that means and what's happening. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can dial toll free, take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The Skype username is lrn.fm. And the Discord on-air call-in line chat room is discord.lrn.fm. Blink Home Security. They got some incredibly affordable home security cameras. You can get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys with their crazy wired systems that you probably have to pay somebody to install, and you get it cheap, and you get it even better with this URL. It's blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live, gets you 15% off the Blink Home Security System. It's a wireless camera system, so it's super easy to install this. You unbox it, it comes with the batteries, you pop the batteries in the cams, you put them wherever you want them, and you set it all up via your Wi-Fi-enabled device like your smartphone or your tablet, and you're literally done within moments. It's a completely different experience than installing a wired system, which is so much more complicated and so much more time-consuming. And the quality is actually surprisingly good considering the price. You pay something, you pay the price that you pay for Blink cams. You're not going to expect much, but you actually do get a really good quality video from this, and the batteries last for a long time.
Yeah, it's really good. You can zoom in a little bit.
And they will send you clips, of course. You decide when the cameras are supposed to be operating. Maybe you only want them on at night or whatever. You decide when, and then when they see something up in front of them, they will send you a clip on your smartphone or a tablet, and you'll get to watch it from wherever you are, whether it's you being on vacation or you're at work or whatever. You'll know what's going on at your house. Go to blinkprotect.com/FTL, or for a small office, I think it would also be very good, blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Vin Armani is with us here tonight from the Vin Armani Show at vinarmani.com. And you've got a history in media. You did some pirate radio way back in the day. I did. This was, except I forgot your microphone.
Oh,
there we
give
go.
Me that
works.
I did indeed.
And what inspired you to do a pirate radio station? Because that's a fairly unusual thing. You don't meet a whole lot of people who've done pirate radio, and even fewer of them are willing to admit it.
Well, I'm willing to admit it because I never got caught, right? And there was never anything with that. No, I've been a DJ, electronic music DJ, since I was a teenager, and I was heavy in the rave scene. I was raised in Southern California, which was big at that time. And as I said, I went to school in Washington, D.C. At that time, D.C. had like the best rave scene. But so I really kind of cut my teeth on drum and bass, and then got into a style called UK Garage, or it was called two-step at the time, and it was kind of the sound of working class London. It was kind of like electronic R&B in a way. And so this is like 99 through maybe about 2003 that was what I was doing. And we started a club in LA on Sundays at the top of this building on Sunset and Vine, 360 building, and we started having all of these acts come in from UK. And at the time, drum and bass had sort of started. Well, I'll say this: London has a long history of pirate radio. And so this was very popular. The young
There's a movie about that.
There is indeed. They would throw these things up on the top of the tower blocks, And UK Garage in particular was huge with the pirate radio. And so these guys would tell us all about these pirate radio stations. And then so we were like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, I got with him and I was like, hey, maybe we could do one of these in LA. And it just so happened, and this is how we were able to pull it off. It had just so happened that the same building that we were doing our club in, which is the tallest building in Hollywood. It's on Sunset and Vine. It was called the 360 building or the Sunset Vine building at the time. Something massive had happened with the electrical, and it had essentially been condemned, and it was like that for years. People listening who are from LA will know that this building was shut down for years. But I knew the maintenance guy from when we were doing the club.
Yeah.
And so he basically was able to let me in when I asked him. He was the only one with keys, along with the fire marshal, who eventually became a friend of mine. So I built a rig that was all solar powered, and on a timer, so we only ran at night. And then I had a 10 gigahertz link. It's an X-band link.
Okay.
And I basically could see line of sight to the top of this building from my bedroom near the Sunset Strip.
Man, that's a heck of a setup.
And so what we did was we actually had an internet radio station.
Uh-huh.
And so we were going live on all of these. So we had people all over town going live from their houses.
Wow.
And we were relaying that through my bedroom and then right up onto it. So we went at night, and that was the first year. Then I moved it up onto the hill using the same system.
Mm-hmm.
I actually managed to find the rooftop of a porn shop in the valley. And I put up just a little remote box that I had built up there, same situation. And I was pulling Wi-Fi from a Starbucks and had it on a timer, shooting it up to the hill. And so we started out just hitting the Hollywood area. Mm-hmm. But by the end, for the last 8 months, we were reaching all of LA County on 87.9 every single night. It was only 150 watts.
That's a lot.
It was only 150
for a pirate
watts.
radio station. That's
exactly why I
heavy.
say it's it's not the power, it's the length of your tower.
That's right. That's what I've been told.
It's the height of the tower. You can have a long tower, but if it's laying sideways, it's not going to do anything.
No, that's not going to do any good.
Yeah. That's what she said.
Wow, that's awesome. But and it never got caught. You never got a visit from the FCC.
Never did. Our transmitter got stolen from out of. I actually ended up sort of sticking it up in a random shack at a tower location where other radio stations and cell phone towers and things were. It was just kind of pirated our way in there. One of the doors was open. It had electricity.
No
we shot it. Yeah, but the guy who told me that the place existed was a bit of a hater. And he and I kind of had a falling out, and he was the only other person who knew where it was, and I think he went up and stole our transmitter. So
that's plausible.
It was a great run. We had a lot of great DJs on there. Our drive time host actually was Juan Atkins, who's the inventor of Detroit Techno. He's an electronic music legend, and so we got a lot of press on other radio stations even. We had write-ups in papers, even national papers. So it was really, really interesting.
That's amazing that you got press and the FCC didn't come and do anything about it.
That's amazing.
Well, one of the things that I always thought was key about it was we never bled over onto 88.1, which was the closest one.
You always want to be a good neighbor on the radio spectrum.
And I made sure that we only broadcast after business hours of the FCC. So I figured if
bureaucrats aren't going to work late.
Bureaucrats don't work late, and we never broadcasted from a home. And even if they had triangulated to that building, there would have been no way for them to get in.
Because it was the big
condemned.
The initial build.
It was condemned.
What are they going to do? Take a helicopter to the top?
Right. What are they going to do? They're probably in a van, and they probably couldn't tell exactly which building it was even on the top of anyway.
Maybe.
And so maybe they went to the other buildings in the area, but we weren't on those buildings. Yeah. We were on the tallest one. You couldn't see the antenna from the ground, so
Right, and at that point, it's dubious corporate ownership. And
what do you do?
What are you going to do? Send them a letter and say, "Hey, you're broadcasting." They're not going to.
Well, nowadays they will actually send a threatening letter to the property owner if they can determine where the signal's coming from. They'll send a letter to the person who they think is doing it.
But it was already. I don't know what the status of it was. I knew the property owner, but the guy, I think he had maybe been arrested for something. The property was in this very nebulous. So I think we just got lucky, to be honest with you.
Right place, right time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. I love a good pirate radio story because it's always somebody doing something against the man. I mean, you shouldn't have to ask permission to exercise freedom of speech, and I'm sorry, broadcasting is freedom of speech.
Agreed.
So was this all about just your love for this
electronic music?
Electronic music. You went to college. You learned to rock like a Dolomite, right? And then you.
Well. I mean, I also
Not sure what a Dolomite is.
as I said, I also I was a hacker from the age of 15. So for me, that kind of like stick it to the man ideal was definitely a huge part of the fun of the entire experience. I mean, and I had to be dedicated to it because, like I say, this is the tallest building in Hollywood, which is not that tall. It's 18 stories, but we had to take that whole rig up in no power, up those stairs with no lighting, no nothing. So it was quite the experience.
Bit of an adventure.
It was fun.
All right, there's more coming up here. A dolomite, Mark, as I didn't know this either, a very common mineral.
Yes, dolomite is a mineral. Yeah.
There's more coming up here. 855
use it for fertilizer.
450 free. 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Take control of your water with the new ProPure Whole House Filtration System. The ProPure Home removes chlorine and up to 220 plus additional contaminants with Pro Max Full Spectrum Filter technology for truly great tasting, clean, and refreshing water. Order a ProPure Home today and receive a free pre-sediment filter, a $79.95 value. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com for details. Rethink what's in your water.
You have been lied to, generation after generation, time after time after time.
If you follow the money, then you understand why America's in the condition it's in.
You created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11. Through 9/11, you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie.
This book will open people's eyes. Order now at killingunclesambook.com. killingunclesambook.com.
Free Talk Live.
But is God against audio CDs or MP3s?
No, all that technology was stolen from the angels in the first place. You wouldn't have anything that wasn't here in 1947.
Why are you selling audio tapes on your website?
There's only one there, which is Angels Over Pendleton, shows
I see several audio
of
tapes
the angel that we communicated with.
No, you can't put video on it. You can't put video on an audio tape. I'm looking at your website here. There's a page where you've got audio tapes for sale for $6, $6.25 each.
And I bought both Nazareth and REO Speedwagon on audio tape.
On audio tape,
yeah.
But that was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're getting the word, if you're trying to get the word out about what you believe is going to happen in the future, maybe you should put it on CD and at least move into the 1990s as opposed to 1985.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and of course, you are free to join us here. You can take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We also have an email list. If you'd like to keep up to date with what's going on with Free Talk Live, you can sign up for the email list over at freetalklive.com. The email sign-up box is right there on the front page toward the top and middle portion of the website. You'll see it there. Once again, go to freetalklive.com, drop your email in there. We'll give you usually one email a week. It's usually no more than that. Sometimes it's less if I forget to send it, but I'm usually pretty good about it. I've got a calendar event to remind me to do that. So head on over there to freetalklive.com, and there's all kinds of other...
you really don't have to worry about us sending you extra emails. We're just not that
sounds
sort.
that way, yeah.
Come on.
This
is work.
Yeah, there's
That's
all
funny.
kinds of other features on the website, like webcam, archives. It's all free, unlike a lot of talk show hosts that want to charge you for those things. We do it all for free. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Vin.
And Mark.
Vin Armani joining us from VinArmani.com, the Vin Armani Show. It is a television or video show. It's not necessarily on TV, but it's on video on the internet.
Yes.
And you just came back from...
So tell me why the terminology television doesn't... you can't claim
It's not
that
the same thing.
video is the same thing.
It's the medium, right?
But it's tele. It's moved from one location to another by electronic means.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it is
It's vision.
right? So
Okay,
it is
you're making a strong
television.
Well,
but from an
and-
etymological standpoint.
No, this is a good argument because if you go to, for instance, like a Netflix or something like that, it will say TV shows.
Yeah.
On the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can watch it on your phone. Is it still a TV show? So, like, the show that I was on is available on YouTube on
Right.
demand.
You
So
pay
if
for
I-
it, though, right?
What's that?
You pay for it on YouTube? Is it one
Yes,
of the
it's
subscription
YouTube on
things?
demand, Amazon. You could buy it on iTunes.
Yep.
But you go and you do any one of those, it's still listed under TV shows. So this is a good point.
Well, that may have something to do with the idea of convergence, sort of mixing everything together
Right.
over
What's
time.
a TV besides a computer screen at this point?
At this point,
I mean,
yeah,
I
that's
can
true.
plug. I have plugged my computer into my
your TV.
Of course.
and then shown pictures and videos to
Good
people.
point.
Yeah. They are
So-
basically glorified computer monitors with tuners in them.
Yeah,
if they
I
even
mean,
have that. Many
somebody-
of them don't have tuners anymore.
Somebody beat me up when I said that they didn't have a radio show when they had a live stream, and they might have a point.
Yeah, what's the difference between a monitor and a television? I mean, what,
Not much.
Is it when it had a tuner in it, it was a television, but when they removed the tuner, it's just a monitor? Because we don't really need tuners for anything anymore as far as like receiving signals from the airwaves. Very few people, I imagine, have rabbit ears anymore, right? Or whatever
Right.
the new digital equivalent
I can't
is.
imagine the percentage is very high
of that.
No.
So whether you want to talk about technology or whatever is on your mind here, let's talk Bitcoin Pizza Day because you just had some pizza, Mark, just a moment ago.
It was quite good.
From Little Zoe's, which if you've actually been to the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which is a yearly summertime camping liberty festival here in New Hampshire, they've been providing the hot pizza there for a couple of years.
Nice.
And they take cryptocurrency. And, of course, they're here in Keene. It's actually where they're based out of. So not we all, but some of us, some of crypto people in the area went there today to celebrate Bitcoin Pizza Day. Now, Vin, can you explain what Bitcoin Pizza Day is?
I can. In 2010, the first recorded exchange, I guess, that anybody knows of a good for Bitcoin happened, and I guess May 22nd, 2010, and it was 10,000 Bitcoins in exchange for two pizzas, two
Correct.
Papa John's pizzas. So I guess two guys were on the Bitcoin Talk forum, and they organized this thing. One of them went out and bought the Papa John's pizzas, brought it to the other guy, exchanged for 10,000 Bitcoins. $83 million today.
A year ago, it was $25 million.
Well, that's still pretty good for 2 pizzas. Come on,
if he held on to it. I hope he did.
Wow.
I hope he held on to that 10,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, 10,000 Bitcoins is a lot of Bitcoins.
It is.
Well, now I was looking at the actual transaction on the blockchain today, and you can you can trace that.
Yep.
So that's going to be interesting in the ensuing years. I find it pretty cool that we at least have 2 holidays in this crypto space.
What's the other one?
Well, I guess you would call it Genesis Block Day.
The first day for
So that's
Bitcoin.
January 3rd, 2009 was that. So that's the first day. But on each of these, what I find so cool is that these moments live on the blockchain that people can actually go and look. So you can trace those 10,000 Bitcoin
and see where they've gone.
And they may even be in some people's wallets at this point, which I think would be pretty interesting, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah, so perhaps you might even own
a fraction
of the first transaction that ever took place.
Heard that there are collectors out there that intend to get a hold of like the very earliest of Bitcoins. Like, so they're going to
the UTXOs. That's interesting. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, so they collect them, but they don't they possess them in a very odd way. They possess the private keys, the digital private keys to these Bitcoins, but you'll never touch them because they're not real.
Right. Well, they're just entries on a ledger. I mean, you mentioned the word blockchain for listeners that are maybe new to the idea. The blockchain is the backbone, if you will. It's the guts of the Bitcoin system and pretty much most of the other cryptos. There are some other ones that are doing something different, but the blockchain technology is what is the real advancement.
That's right.
That allows, and the idea is it's a decentralized, distributed ledger. So it's not a ledger that's sitting in one place. It's not, like Visa or MasterCard might have a server somewhere with all of their transactions on it or whatever. This is in thousands of locations. It's duplicated all around the world on all these different, what they call full nodes. And each of these nodes is constantly checking the other to make sure that nobody's doing any kind of hocus pocus with cooking the books.
Which is really important. That makes the system trustless. I just was at the Bitcoin.com's table at the Citizenship by Investment seminar down in St. Kitts, and I got the opportunity to explain this from the very start of it to several people because I was just hanging out there and they were so busy. I just was talking to people about Bitcoin, and
these are newbies. This wasn't a Bitcoin event. This was an event at which there was a table about Bitcoin.
Right, okay. And the idea is people don't necessarily understand this, but they get very quickly what a ledger is. It's a database entry. They understand those things, and they also understand that people in power, whether they're banks or business people or governments, lie. They lie all the frickin' time. They're a bunch of stinking liars, right?
Very true.
They've got that down. They understand that completely, and then they realize when a currency is accounted for on literally hundreds of thousands of machines around the world that the lying.
It's not that many.
Yes, it's got to be.
Bitcoin? I think there's only like 8,000 or 9,000 full nodes or something like that.
It's not hundreds. It's not hundreds of thousands.
Wow! Yeah. I thought those machines contained that many computers. Anyway, many thousands of places, and then there's, by the way, it doesn't have to be a full node. It could just be a node in order to replicate the blockchain.
If it's not a full node, they don't have the full blockchain. That's what a full node is. A full node is
they may not
blockchain.
They may not be mining. They may not be adding to the blockchain.
So mining is not a full node.
This is, by the way, this is a very controversial topic that you're bringing up right now.
I don't intend to.
This is a very within the crypto community. This is a very controversial topic as to whether you are truly a full node if you are not adding to the blockchain.
Okay, so there's a little bit more now than there was maybe a couple of years ago. There's 10,106 nodes globally.
Okay, so
there's Bitcoin,
thousands of computers keeping this ledger alive all the time, checking and rechecking each other, and there's no way for some politician, banker, corporate pirate, or whomever, just grandma, to get on there, change it. Well, there is a way for them to change it. They can change the ledger. They just won't be part of the ledger anymore.
That's right.
They'll just be kicked out.
Correct.
That's right.
So that's what makes it trustless.
Rejected.
I don't have to trust the Federal Reserve Bank. I don't have to trust the European Central Bank. I don't have to trust the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. I don't have to trust these organizations. I don't, by the way.
Yeah.
and this money is now kept in a way that protects the little guy.
Yeah, it's a huge paradigm shift. I was explaining this to somebody today, a landscaper who was interested in taking cryptocurrency, just how big of a paradigm shift it really is. And I think it's still something many people haven't grasped, and I don't even know if we have yet. Just how big of a change this is to go from the centrally controlled money, which is issued by governments and banks and has been for generations, for as long as anybody can remember, to go to something like that, this top-down control system, to a completely decentralized system where the people themselves are the ones who are in control, where the creator himself or herself, nobody even knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. We have no idea who
Which
that
is
person
maybe one of the most powerful aspects of this whole thing, and it may not have taken off if there wasn't this sort of nebulous,
the mystery,
certainly mysterious, enigmatic figure at the top, because then we really can all feel like we're partial owners of this thing, that there's no head of this and
no
we're
one to
the
blame.
heads. Yes, exactly. It's fantastic.
And whether Satoshi Nakamoto is even still alive is another question. Nobody knows.
Once the Australian government thought they found Satoshi Nakamoto, Craig Wright, and they went to his house and they started demanding money from him.
Right.
I mean, come on. Who wants to be Satoshi?
Well, he's got to have money, right?
He hasn't moved, but he hasn't moved it.
There's more coming up here in moments. Hour number 3 is on the way. You can join us. It's Free Talk Live.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.60 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,295 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $33, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,178. Antiwar.com reports U.S. forces may not be leaving Iraq or Syria, but there aren't a lot of the Islamic State targets for them to hit anymore. This has led to a precipitous decline in the number of U.S. bombs dropped on those two countries and has the military's priorities shifting eastward towards Afghanistan. The Islamic State has lost virtually all of its meaningful territory, and to the extent that the group's forces have fled into the desert, they still aren't convenient targets for U.S. warplanes. In Afghanistan, the U.S.-backed government controls only about 50 50% of the territory, leaving open a lot of enemy territory to target. In recent decades, the Pentagon has kept Afghanistan in its back pocket for when things slowed down elsewhere. When the 2003 U.S. occupation of Iraq slowed down, a surge was announced in Afghanistan. When the war against the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria ratcheted up, Afghanistan was on the back burner, but now is facing new escalation. Unlike the Islamic State, where their control over territory was always very tentative, the Taliban has a lot of territory in Afghanistan in which they have a long-standing stranglehold and where they won't be readily displaced. This makes Afghanistan every bit the long-term project it was 17 years ago when the U.S. first invaded.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports Walmart topped the Fortune 500 list released on Monday, and Amazon made the top 10 for the first time. The 64th annual Fortune 500 list ranks America's largest companies, representing 2/3 of the U.S. GDP, with $12.8 trillion in annual revenue. The companies on the list employ more than 28 million people. Walmart, the number one company on the list for the 6th straight year, is the first U.S. company with $500 billion in yearly sales. The retailer closed 63 Sam's Club locations in the United States to focus on other areas such as online shopping. The closed Sam's Clubs are being repurposed as delivery centers. Amazon, the e-commerce giant run by Jeff Bezos, ranked number 8 with nearly $178 billion in revenue, which is up from number 12 with $136 billion in revenue last year. Fortune attributed the gain to an increase of $70 billion in revenue over 2 years, overseas expansion to markets like India, and growth of Amazon Web Services. ExxonMobil and Berkshire Hathaway ranked number 2 and number 3 respectively on the list with $244 billion and $242 billion each in annual revenue respectively. Walmart and Berkshire Hathaway also topped the list in 2017.
Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
Reuters reports lava from the erupting Kilauea volcano on Hawaii's Big Island flowed towards a geothermal power plant on Monday as workers scrambled to shut it down to prevent the uncontrollable release of toxic gases. It was the latest danger from Mount Kilauea's eruption, which geologists say is among the worst events in a century from one of the world's most active volcanoes. The Puna Geothermal Venture Plant, which provides about 25% of the power on the Big Island of Hawaii, has been closed since shortly after the eruptions began May 3rd, and some 60,000 gallons of flammable pentane used in the plant's turbines have already been relocated. Workers are trying to shut down the plant's 3 wells, which at 6,000 feet and 8,000 feet underground tap into extremely hot water and steam used to run turbines and produce electricity. The county of Hawaii said a berm was holding back lava flowing northwest toward the plant, and crews expected to cap 2 of the 3 wells, but were having difficulty with a 3rd well. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Big tech news this week as Microsoft has unveiled its new generation Xbox One. Designers say the console's revolutionary new voice command feature makes it easier than ever for the Xbox to control its users. According to Microsoft spokesman Don Matrick, quote, "The Xbox One is programmed with a host of simple voice commands that you will respond to instantly. In addition to phrases like jump, shoot, and insert game disc, users will also understand more complicated instructions like download Call of Duty Update or come into the room and turn on Xbox."
The Xbox One tells us what games to play, what music to listen to, what shows to watch.
Watch TV.
And with that simple command, I'm watching live TV.
The new Xbox's high-tech sensors can also detect your expression and tell when you're looking away from the television.
Andy, look back at the TV.
Microsoft says the new Xbox can also command you using your smartphone or tablet. TechBuzz is raving. Quote, "It's the immersive obedience experience we've been waiting for."
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, launching into the third hour of the program. As always, we got time for you if you want to join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The Skype username is lrn.fm. We've also got the Discord on-air line, or the Discord on-air call-in line. You go to discord.lrn.fm. You can hop in there, too. Ian and Mark in here as normal. Vin Armani joining us from the Vin Armani Show.
Hello.
At vinarmani.com. One of the newest movers to New Hampshire as part of the ongoing New Hampshire freedom migration. And you said to me in an interview I did with you briefly for an article I wrote up at freekeen.com, sort of announcing that you'd made the move, that you kind of just decided to pull the trigger after having had an experience coming here, visiting New Hampshire, and feeling what it was like to actually be around a community of people who understand what liberty really is and who are also willing to do something about it. You decided to just pull the trigger and go ahead and leave Las Vegas.
Yes.
And come to little old New Hampshire, which probably doesn't even have what is a population of Vegas? I bet you it's more than all of New Hampshire combined.
I think that the number of people who live in Vegas is somewhere around 1.5 million. So that's
right about on par with.
Yeah, but that's not the number of people who are in Las Vegas at any given time.
Those are the people who are serving the people who come to Las Vegas.
So it's it's quite the change. But things are very different from when I first moved to Vegas because I was filming the show there. I was a single guy, I was like in my early 30s.
Right.
And it's like, I'm closing in on 40 now. I've got a family. And it's like, this is I think a much better environment. Plus, with the things that I'm doing, whether it's with the podcast or whether it's in the world of crypto, this is just absolutely the place to be. And, I've never had people telling me, oh, we really would like to see you move. It would be great if you could move. Like, how do you not do it at that point?
Did you ever spend cryptocurrency in Vegas?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like at
absolutely.
a physical location, like you.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
There's Vegas is actually very, very crypto friendly.
That's what we've heard.
Yeah, there are actually two-way ATMs in several of the casinos.
Okay.
Planet Hollywood. Golden Dragon, I think it's called. It's a brand new one, and the D downtown. So, yeah,
didn't Mike Tyson
stayed at the D?
Didn't Mike Tyson have branded Bitcoin ATMs there too?
He did, and I know the guy who basically did that branding with him, and he and some partners actually opened up a cryptocurrency friendly strip club called Legends Room.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's actually there and running.
Is it really a strip club if you can't shove a buck in their drawers?
Well, funny enough, I actually built a little, because as I said, I'm a software developer and I do cryptocurrency projects now. But I'll have to find a picture on my phone and show you. I built a stripper tipping device.
How's that work?
For Bitcoin. It's actually really cool. So it's made of a little, if you know what an Arduino is, it's kind of like a very small microcontroller. It's got an LCD screen on it, and it will change the QR code that's on there as each girl goes on stage. But what's really cool about it, and this was very important, so these things are sort of sitting around like on table tents, you know, those little like menus that sit on the table, and these Arduinos, what they're used for is these are the things that automate. You could build little drones out of them. You could make them do things. So on the table tent are LEDs, and when you tip and it goes through, it will light up the LEDs that are on the table tent, so the girl from the stage can tell that table just tipped her. And it'll light up differently depending on how much you tip. So if you just tip $1, it'll light up with a little like LED strobe that goes around, and if you make it rain, it'll start like going crazy with all kind of colors,
awesome.
right?
So she can give them extra special attention.
Exactly. So it's a pretty cool little system, and that's actually using some of that stuff. It's my latest project. I actually use some of that as the back end, but it's God, man, there's so much to be done still with Bitcoin.
Oh yeah,
so much.
It's so new,
unbelievable.
It's so new. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. On the scale of money, Bitcoin is so new, even though it's been around almost a decade at this point, and it
what
seems
is
like
that compared to any other form of money?
Well, in internet time, a decade's a long time, right? But as far as the the scheme of money out there, gold, silver, dollars, paper currency. All those things have been around for some of them hundreds of years, some of them
thousands tens of
years.
Thousands.
And now Bitcoin's just a drop in the bucket as far as that length of time is concerned. So we are still on the cutting edge of this, and that's one of the challenges in the world of cryptocurrency is ease of use. How do we bring people who are used to credit cards, who are used to dollars, used to these old systems, how do we introduce them to this in a way that's understandable, in a way that you don't have to sit there and explain to them how mining works and why it is that there's fees and how easy can this be made? It's a lot easier now than it was 10 years ago, but it's still probably too hard for some grandmothers to get a hold of. So when can it get to grandmother level easy? I don't know. That's
what we're trying with my new company. I think we may have reached that point.
Let's talk about what you're doing, because I had seen this on the Reddit for Reddit r/BTC. Which is one of the it's one of the places where a lot of the Bitcoin Cash people tend to hang out, because the /Bitcoin one tends to be censored, and so they've gone to this other place where they can talk without being censored. And I've seen people talking about CoinText.
Yes.
Cointext.io.
That's correct.
And it is texting for cryptocurrency?
It is.
Tell me about this.
I just sent you $1.
Okay.
Grab your phone.
All right.
You should probably have a text at this point.
I do have one, yes.
So basically, to explain this is...
I just received $1, and then it shows me the amount in BCH.
Yes.
Your current balance is 1.0 USD, and then again the amount in BCH.
So basically,
Bitcoin Cash.
Yes. So you didn't have to do anything, and you're completely on board.
I gave you my phone number. That's
right.
It.
If you type in receive right now, you will actually see this is on the blockchain. You will see your Bitcoin Cash address associated with this. It will send it right back to you. So you can do receive, send, balance. You can send to people by their address like any other wallet. So you can send that right now to your Bitcoin Cash wallet. So this, we really created it because we wanted to make it easy enough for grandma to use. And, the hardest thing when you're dealing with cryptocurrency, I think that all of us run across, is that you talk to somebody about Bitcoin. Like we had this great Bitcoin conversation before the break about why it's so great, why somebody should use it. And I've had so many of these on like airplanes and whatnot. And the next thing that they say is they're like, wow, that sounds awesome. How do I get some?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so for most of us, we're like, okay, well, get out your phone, go to the App Store, download this wallet, and then they pull up the wallet and they see the QR code and all of this, and they're like, okay, well, what's this?
That?
How's this going on? And then you're like, okay, let me scan this. With this, I just say, what's your phone number? Like I just did with you at the break.
Yep.
I just go, what's your phone number? I just type in send $1, your phone number.
Boom.
Boom, done. And they've got a full-fledged, full-featured wallet. They didn't have to do anything. Permissionless, no downloads, no nothing, and it just works. And so every phone number in the world is unique.
Right.
So we're able to use this as what's called a cryptographic seed. So because we're interacting with phone numbers and we can verify that they're these phone numbers, you can send to any person in the world straight to their phone and be assured that it will only go to their phone. And so every phone number, we can give them a Bitcoin Cash address.
Yeah.
And we do this all decentralized. It's all on the blockchain. We don't store anybody's money. We don't keep any records. We can't see your private key.
You don't have the private keys?
I do not have the private keys. This is the miracles of math. This is the miracles of crypto.
And you came up with this. You're a programmer.
I did. That's my... Well, I said...
What don't you do, Vin?
I said I've been a hacker since the age of 15, so, this is what I do.
You've done gigolo work. You're a programmer. You're an author now. You got your own book that you've... Recently, 2 books.
This is my second book.
Okay. All right.
So, rocks the mic like a vandal.
Right? He hosts his own television program, his own video show. It's amazing.
I try, man.
Is that a Renaissance man? Does that make you a Renaissance man? Or a jack of all trades?
Yeah, I think it might.
The thing is, it's a very few things that I do, but the things that I do are just interesting things. But I'm super passionate about liberty, and I'm super passionate about crypto.
And this is open right now. Cointext.io.
Cointext.io.
Global. This is global?
We're in like 10 countries.
10 countries. Okay, 'cause you gotta
Canada,
interact with these phone systems.
So this is beta, but we're going into 54 countries by the end of the year, 5.1 billion population.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about
Let's do it.
Plus, if you've got comments, questions, whatever you want to bring up, you can. It is Free Talk Live. More on the way.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial in till free. You can join us on the radio waves, and you can bring up anything that's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got Skype. That's Skype username LRN.FM. We're talking about cryptocurrency, which is going to be a big thing at the upcoming ForkFest 2018. It's the second year for this decentralized Liberty Camping Festival. When I say decentralized, I mean there's no organizers, there's no board of directors.
I like it.
There's no tickets. So you just show up, and you're going to need to get a campsite from Rogers Campground or an RV site, or you can stay in the motel if you prefer that. So you do have to do that. Ultimately, those are the only rules you have to follow. Whatever Rogers Campground's rules are, that's it. There's no other strictures on top of that. Nobody's going to tell you can't vend. Nobody's going to tell you what you can't do. And some of these more centralized festivals have become a little too controlling in some people's minds. And so for those people that want to have that experience, the experience of just being able to go into the woods, to a campground with some libertarians and voluntarists and people who care about freedom, that's what's happening June 14th through the 18th. We're talking about just 3 weeks, basically 3.5 weeks from today. So it's coming up, and it's coming up fast. It's the second year of the event, so it's going to be small. I don't know how many people are going to come because, again, I'm not in charge. Nobody's in charge. There's no tickets that are being sold.
There's no way to know how many people are coming.
Yeah, the only way we're going to know is when we show up there, and we're going to be able to look around the campground and make some kind of estimate.
It'll be a blast, though. We had a great time the last time.
We did. There was maybe a couple dozen people scattered about Rogers last time around. This is an event that actually happens before the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and it's, again, June 14th through the 18th. You can go there. You can go to forkfest.party. That is a website that links to some of the other, different unofficial things like the ForkFest Telegram chat room. There's a ForkFest forum on the same forums that host the Free Talk Live forums. So you can go there, and the forum's actually great because there's different threads about sort of different things that people are planning on doing.
See, that's smart.
Yeah, because each individual decides what to do. So if you just want to go and hang out and camp for 5 days, then you can do that. If you want to go and put something together, create an event for the people who are hanging out, then you can do that too. So if you want to put on a speech, I know that Alt Expo is going to be there. They're going to have speeches. There's going to be a speech about mesh networking. One of our former co-hosts, Jay Noon's getting married on that Sunday at that event. Our co-host, Daryl W. Perry, is going to do some athletic events, and he's going to host a party that same night. So everybody's coming together with things. People that are willing to vend, they're already announcing, hey, I'm going to do tacos, or Will Coley and his family, they're going to serve Asian cuisine. And so we've already got at least a few different people who are planning to provide food. And then just down the street, the restaurant in one of the competing hotels has announced they're accepting cryptocurrency. So you're actually going to be able to go down there and sit down at a restaurant and spend your crypto, which is awesome. So it's going to be a very heavy crypto thing because the Porcupine Freedom Festival for a long time was the crypto event. Like before there were Bitcoin festivals, before there were Bitcoin conventions, the Porcupine Freedom Festival had a bunch of people taking crypto. But what somebody told me happened last year was that there weren't as many vendors there that were taking crypto as had been previous years at the Porcupine Freedom Festival because the Porcupine Freedom Festival becomes so big, it had started to attract kind of like the carny food vendors. I
did see that last year. Yeah, there was some of that.
And none of those guys are taking cryptocurrency. And so it was actually harder to spend crypto. It's what I was told. I wasn't attending that festival, so I don't know for sure. But I suspect every vendor at ForkFest is likely going to be accepting cryptocurrency, at least based on the buzz that I'm kind of seeing around. So check it out at forkfest.party. We'll look forward to seeing you there. And again, it's June 14th through the 18th at the beautiful Rogers Campground. We're talking about cryptocurrency right now. It's Bitcoin Pizza Day, celebrating the very first ever Bitcoin transaction known to man, where somebody spent 10,000 Bitcoin on 2 pizzas, and that's now worth over $80 million in today's
I don't know that it was the first
rate.
Transaction.
For a product,
I
should say.
It was the first.
There was people testing transactions previous to that, but somebody bought something real.
It was effectively a test net prior to that. But in this case, a gentleman, I believe in England, sent a gentleman in Jacksonville 2 pizzas from Papa John's and for 10,000 Bitcoins.
Correct.
Yes.
He got his Bitcoins, he sent the pizza, and
history was made.
Right. Now, obviously, people can look back and say, well, I bet he wishes he didn't make that transaction or whatever, but this is the kind of thing you have to think about is that all these transactions that were made up to this point, Bitcoin wouldn't have been important if it wasn't a currency.
If it wasn't used.
Yes.
Yeah, it needed to be used. And so, thanks to that person, I'm sure I've got their name up here on one of these articles.
But now fast forward to today where Bitcoin, sadly, the original Bitcoin Core, BTC, whatever you want to call it, is no longer really that useful as a currency. And the
not compared to the other major ones that are out there.
Right.
For sure.
And the reason I say that is not because I hate Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I mean, I'm so grateful.
You're wearing a Bitcoin shirt.
I've got a
for
Bitcoin logo
out
shirt
loud.
on right now.
You gave me a Bitcoin mug to drink water out of. I mean, come on.
We're pretty deep into this.
We are, absolutely. I love Bitcoin, and it saddens me that it is so difficult to spend it. I spent a little bit today because I gave a guy his first cryptocurrency today, and I still like to give out Bitcoin.
It's difficult to spend?
It's hard to spend. What I mean by that is it's hard to justify with the fees that the Bitcoin costs.
Right.
It's difficult.
What are the fees now? They got down
40 cents.
Yeah, that's high if you're doing like, $4 or $5 or something like that.
I went the other day in downtown Keene, and I bought a newspaper at Corner News, which is the shop that was the first physical location in Keene to start accepting Bitcoin back in 2013.
Oh, wow.
And bought a newspaper. I paid in Dash, and it cost me a cent to send that transaction.
Probably less.
Roundabouts. A lot of times it's as much as a cent, but whatever.
Okay, fair enough.
Or maybe they're rounding up. I don't know. Whatever. So 1 cent, no big deal. 40 cents?
Yeah.
No one's going to do that. Nobody's going to buy a $1 soda at the local corner store. Nobody's going to buy, a $2 newspaper if it's a 40-cent fee. Because with cryptocurrency, for people who are unfamiliar, the person who's sending the transaction pays the fee.
That's right.
Unlike a credit card transaction where the merchant has to pay a 3% fee, that comes out of their profits. So they build that cost into the profit of the item, and it's, ultimately is transparent to the user. But in cryptocurrency, the user has to make a choice. Which crypto do I want to spend? Do I want to spend the one that's going to cost me 40 cents? Go to bitcoinfees.info. That's the current today. That's what it's going to send you generally. Now, there's some differences depending on the size of the bytes in the transaction or whatever, and it could be a little bit higher, it could be a little bit lower, but the typical transaction, 40 cents. Now, that's down from what it was in late 2017 when it got up as high as
50, right?
Generally, it was as high as like 20 to 30 at one point on kind of average or median. Yeah, $20 to $30. It was crazy. So, something had to change. And so having that low fee is critical for cryptocurrency to be a currency.
Right.
To be something that somebody wants to spend. Because as you pointed out, if they never had spent that 10,000 Bitcoin on the pizzas, if nobody had ever spent Bitcoin on anything, it wouldn't be worth anything.
It's got to get a price first.
Right.
At some point, it's got to get a price.
And every transaction basically builds in, more value.
Absolutely.
Correct. And of course, the more people use it, the more valuable it becomes. So that's why holding on to crypto, while generally has been a good, plan for its increasing in value over time, the reason it increases over time in value is because of the people who use it.
But what Roger Ver did, and I think this is the best move for somebody who wants to evangelize for cryptocurrency, is he spent it when he could, and then he replaced what he spent.
That's right.
So that he kept the same amount of his holdings.
Yeah, you don't want to deplete your holdings. You keep repurchasing with your dollars, get new crypto, and hold on to that, and then spend that. So that's one of the things that Cointext here, and we're going to get back into it, Cointext.io, is helping people do, because it's using Bitcoin Cash, not BTC or Bitcoin Core. There's more coming up, and we'll explain what that means, and you can take control here on Free Talk Live.
Take control of your water with the new ProPure Whole House Filtration System. The ProPure Home removes chlorine and up to 220 plus additional contaminants with Pro Max Full Spectrum Filter technology for truly great tasting, clean, and refreshing water. Order a ProPure Home today and receive a free pre-sediment filter, a $79.95 value. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com for details. Rethink what's in your water.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us here on our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. The Skype username is lrn.fm. And then there's our Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. And joining you in our studio tonight is me, Ian.
And Vin Armani.
And Mark.
We're talking about cryptocurrency and ease of use. And Vin, you've come up with something because you're a programmer in addition to a talk show host and television star. You've put together cointext.io. We've been testing it here in the studio. That makes it cuts out a lot of the steps for getting somebody involved in cryptocurrency. Now, it's not the prettiest thing in the world because it's just text messaging.
Just text messages.
But it works.
Yeah.
And you can text cryptocurrency, in this case Bitcoin Cash, is what you're launching with at least.
That's right.
You can text cryptocurrency to anybody with a phone number. So you don't have to have the if anybody's been doing crypto, you know every wallet address is this long string of obtuse numbers and letters that no one could possibly remember.
Yep.
You have to always copy and paste. And you got to be very careful. You get the whole thing
That's
just right. Whereas now you can just use somebody's phone number.
That's right.
And text them cryptocurrency. It's their own wallet. They're the only one that has access to it.
That's right.
And they could send it to their other wallets.
It's also seamless because it doesn't look like a wallet. It just looks like a text message. Yeah.
Well, in and it's we're really trying to roll out to the developing world in particular. You know, in Africa there is a company called M-Pesa.
Right.
They do about 6 billion with a B.
Yep.
Transactions a year in 10 African countries. It's one of the most popular methods for, and a lot of these people are unbanked, and so we're really
they're
trying
banked,
to cut
they've got an M-Pesa bank.
Right, they've got an M-Pesa account, but that's all through SMS. So you mentioned that you don't need to have a long address, but some of the other things you don't need to have. Well, you don't need to have a smartphone.
You can do a dumb phone with this, yeah.
Sure,
as long as you have texting.
And
this is the invention we were asking for 4 years ago when we talked about.
And let me step it even further. You don't have to have internet.
Now,
Just
you
a cell
don't
tower?
have to have no. You don't have to have mobile internet to send an SMS message.
I don't know what
you just have to have phone service. You have to have the cell phone signal. That's it.
So you don't have the data, but you get the cell phone.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
I thought you were going to say like these cell phones somehow do a mesh network, and I
No,
wasn't
I'm
really
glad you went there.
understanding.
You don't
because-
have to have you don't have to have access to the internet.
Right, and that's critical here. That you can bring cryptocurrency to not only the unbanked, which is historically one of the targets of Bitcoin was people living in poor countries.
That's right.
Who, when Bitcoin was affordable to send, when it was less than a cent or less than 2 cents, it wasn't a big deal for somebody in the dark of Africa who did have internet service to be able to send that. Whereas if it's 40 cents, now you're talking about half a day's worth of work just to send one Bitcoin transaction. So these people who are saying that, oh, it's no big deal that it's 50 cents to send a Bitcoin. It is a big deal.
It is.
If it's somebody who's making $1 a day. You've just cut those people completely out of the world of crypto if Bitcoin was the only option, but thankfully it's not the only option.
I have some questions about this M-Pesa, platform that they've got in Africa. I mean, I don't know much about Africa, never been on the continent myself. I have a friend that's over there. I talk to him on a relatively regular basis, pretty much every day. And I would be afraid that he would get his phone stolen if his money was on the phone. I mean, does it make the phone worth more? I don't understand, because can somebody send and receive?
That would be a risk. That
actually leverages their SIM card, which is super interesting.
Okay.
But what's cool about this is that because it is a regular Bitcoin Cash wallet, you are not limited by. So someone can send to you, but you could have a paper wallet, for instance. So meaning you could have an address somewhere else that you had the private keys for, that you had control over. Someone can set, like you just did it right here, right? That Ian sent you 50 cents and you sent it immediately to your wallet.
Right.
So you can keep, how we envision this, and how I always envision this as someone who was in an all cash business for quite a long time, is that I've always envisioned this as, I kind of always said, I've got my wallet, which is my cash in my pocket. I've got my stash, which is kind of like my cash that's maybe in a place not in
more
my
secure.
More secure, but maybe it's in like, somewhere in my home, but not locked in a safe. Then I've got my safe.
Right.
And then I've got like a private vault somewhere.
Different levels of security.
This is different levels of security, and since this is this type of money, I view this as like my walking around wallet.
Right.
I'm not keeping more money. Like I'm the developer of this thing, and I don't usually keep more than like 20 US worth of BCH in there. But then I also have my software wallet on my phone, and I also have my
my
Trezor hardware wallet, and then I've got my paper wallet, that is only ever been written down, and that lives in a safe, and so it's like you can have these varying levels of security, and it's for us to start exploring that it can be more in terms of the user interface than let's figure out how far we can go. Like, what kind of weird things and cool things can we do with this money?
And this brings in people to that first level.
Yes.
This brings people into that first level of, as you were saying earlier, you're cutting out having to download a wallet, having to get on the App Store, having to jump through the hoops, having to create the new account, and which on its own isn't really that long of a process.
Sure, no.
But it still can keep some people away. I remember one time I was at the local burger here in town, which they accept cryptocurrency, and I was talking with a young lady behind the counter who had never had a crypto wallet before, and I managed to actually get her to agree to go ahead and install it. And so she's got her iPhone, and she started to go to the App Store, and she hit the download button on the wallet, and her phone died.
And her phone died. There you go.
And that was the end of it. And then a week later when I saw her again, she was like, I don't know.
Right.
And that was it. So she could have had it, but technology got in the way. Whereas if I just had her phone number, I could have just, done the
Well, there's the
thing.
instant gratification of, oh, I just gave you money. And someone seeing, like when you see,
there it is.
Oh, you just received $1? It's like, wait, I have $1 here? I have $1? And like if either one of you go and if you type in cash back into that number again, we'll give you some more money. Because we want you to spend. We've got a faucet.
You got a faucet, okay.
Attached to it. So we're trying to do, and with this you can do things like, we're going to play around with donation. Right? So you could say, donate. So we could do the free. It could be Free Talk Live, $1, and then it would say, would you like to donate $1? So verify that you want to donate $1 to Free Talk Live, and then you type in the confirmation code, and boom, immediately it comes to you guys.
Yeah,
right.
It's
pre-programmed in there, so it's really, really cool. All the things you could do in a simple way.
And you just got this rolling. This just started 2 months ago? 3 months ago?
About 2 months. About 2 months ago. We're in our public beta right now. So we're in U.S., Canada, UK, Switzerland, Sweden, Australia, Netherlands, and South Africa.
I see. Yeah, there's a map here. I see South Africa there. Now, I don't know how hard is it to get into these other countries? You got to work with these phone systems, some sort of provider.
Yeah, there's a network of this. This has been really the challenge. There's a network of these SMS gateway providers throughout the world, and some are more expensive than others. But so currently we're working with 4 of them, and we route in between them. So if you from the U.S., you say, send $1, and then you put in, along with the country code and number, let's say you put in South Africa. When it shows up to them, so when it showed up to you here, it said you just received $1 and this amount of BCH. When it shows up to them, it comes from the South African number, and it says you just received whatever that amount is in ZAR, South African Rand.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the amount of BCH. And so they can either send in Rand, or you can send it in the BCH amount as well. And you can either send to a phone number, or you can send it to an address.
That's pretty slick that it does the auto conversion.
You got to do that, right?
Does it cost more to send to somebody in South Africa if I'm in the U.S.?
No.
Versus sending to Mark?
No, we take a 10 Satoshi per byte fee. So we take a 10 Satoshi per byte fee. The network...
That's very small, by the way.
It's very small. The network takes a 1 Satoshi per byte fee. So we still end up significantly less than it would cost you to send BTC. And we make a profit in the process.
Not to mention way less than sending Western Union or
And how
MoneyGram.
fast, man.
Yeah,
Instantaneously.
Instant. It's great stuff.
I
This is
appreciate
amazing.
that. Thank you, man.
Kudos to you for coming out with this.
Thank you, sir.
And definitely want to hear about further updates of what's going on with Cointext.
Oh, you will.
We got more on the way here. Go check out Vin's site, cointext.io, if you want to get into that and get in on this public beta. 855 450 free, like freedom. Join us on Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Were you born before the year 1956? If so, did you know you could be collecting between $575 and $2,200 in tax-free income right now? All thanks to the FHA. Or what about this? Did you know 54 U.S. congressmen have used a special tax-free account to earn up to 35 times more on their money? It's true, and you can do it too. These are just 2 of the secrets revealed inside a stunning new book from the Palm Beach Research Group and Ted Benna, the man behind the 401k. You'll discover the 18 best cash cows that can help you earn up to an extra $6,800 a month. If you're at or near retirement, this book is a must-read. Today, you can get your very own free copy of Ted Benna's new book. Shipping and handling charges apply.
Get your copy of Ted Benna's book when you text Benna to 79000. Text BENNA to 79000. Text Benna to 79000 now.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was
kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us on the radio. You can take control of the airwaves here at 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've also got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. It's Ian and Mark here as normal. Vin Armani has been joining us here as our guest co-host here tonight. And you can check more of him out over at vinarmani.com. He does a weekly video show on the internet. Just started production up again last week since you made the move to New Hampshire. Took a little break as you moved, set up your new studio and all that. So check him out at vinarmani.com. As we go to your phone calls and thoughts, we got Sarah. She's in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, I was told that we were supposed to have the self-driving cars being tested out here in New Mexico. We accepted them, what I was told, but I don't see any of them, and I have no idea where they are being tested. And then nothing is mentioned about it.
Well, how would you really know? I mean, first of all, you don't drive. This is the first time Vin's ever heard you, by the way. But you don't drive. You are a welfare recipient there in New Mexico. You hate cars, so how would you know, since you don't spend any time on the roads whatsoever, if there are self-driving cars out there?
Well, the thing is, if they are out, they should be on the news. So what I was told, that California, they said, we don't want them here.
Yeah.
It's too dangerous. It's not. So go to New Mexico because everybody's getting killed by a car anyways. Go there and test it out. They don't mind. So they're supposed to be here. But I hear nothing about it. I'm thinking if they're doing this in a abandoned town where there's hardly nobody, that's what I'm assuming. They must be in some kind of town where it's like a ghost town. There's roads, but there's nobody living in it.
Yeah, my understanding of the self-driving cars, at least at this point, Sarah, is not that there's nobody behind the wheel. They have a operator that's sitting there in case something goes wrong. They have the ability to, hit the brakes and take manual control over the cars. So you probably wouldn't be able to tell at a glance if somebody was behind the wheel of a self-driving car or not. If you were just sitting there watching the cars go by, you wouldn't necessarily know. And just because somebody's testing a technology in an area doesn't necessarily mean that the news is going to be reporting on it every night, because there might be one story that gets run saying, oh, self-driving cars are now in New Mexico, and that'll be pretty much the end of that report. So I don't know if you're going to see a whole bunch of fervor over this in the media.
Well, you know what, I'm kind of Because I want to see a self-driving car with, like you said, there's somebody in it in Albuquerque. And, that would be a big deal to me. But
what would you do if you actually were standing there on the side of the road watching the cars and you saw what you believed to be a self-driving car, and let's say it just happened to slow down, you were at the intersection, there was a red light, and the windows were down. Would you say something? Would you do something? How would you handle that?
Who are you going to say something to?
Well, here's the thing, is that if I was to see a self-driving car, like people have seen them in Phoenix, people have seen them driving by itself. So I would get so excited. I would write a letter to the Journal. I would write a letter to the Alibi. I would call your show. I would call KKOB, and I would tell probably another 100 people. I would get the word out. I would contact all the state representatives. I mean, I would.
So what you're saying is you wouldn't actually. What about this? Would you be willing to jump out in front of the self-driving car just to test it out, just to see if its systems are fully functional?
Well, no, I was still at the crosswalk. I mean, I'm not that secure,
Okay.
But
you don't trust the technology quite.
I don't
yet.
see what the problem is. They have self-driving missiles these days. What's
right? Exactly.
Thanks for the call, Sarah. Let's go to Rob. He's in Charleston,
Get
West
a problem,
Virginia.
you'll all solve it.
Rob, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight, Rob?
Hey, I just want to make a couple comments.
Yes, sir.
I read I heard a story today about Congress, and that there is a lot of congressmen in Congress that are getting Alzheimer's medicine delivered to them in Congress.
Okay.
Now, I can believe that, but I really can't, because someone's been in there for, 100 years?
There's a lot of them that have been there a long time, that's for sure.
Okay. And just got one more brief statement. If someone can explain this to me. I heard Nancy Pelosi the other day. I heard it on the radio also. They were talking about free speech, and they said you cannot holler fire in a theater. She said you cannot cry wolf in a theater. Someone explain that one?
Well, this is something that is always brought up as you don't have free speech. You can't say fire in a crowded theater.
Yeah, but you can cry wolf though. I mean, just stand up and yell
wolf.
I think that's okay.
You can't yell anything in a theater because it's against the private property the owner's rules.
Well,
they don't want a crying baby. They don't want somebody yelling fire. They don't want someone yelling wolf during the middle of a movie because they want everybody to have an enjoyable experience. So to bring up a crowded theater and yelling things in a discussion of freedom of speech is somebody who doesn't understand what freedom of speech is all about. The freedom of speech in the government's context is to protect you from government prosecution, government persecution for the things that you say in a public place. If you're on someone else's private property, you've agreed sort of, you didn't sign anything, but there's sort of like a social agreement, if you will, an unspoken agreement. In some cases, they actually have, text on screen saying, hey, shut up, keep your phone quiet, that kind of thing.
Very often in the movies they have that,
Yeah, and that's because people need to understand this. Maybe their parents didn't teach them how to behave in a movie theater, so they have to have it on screen. But it's pretty clear that's not something you're supposed to do. It's private property rules. If it's your private property, you have the ability to set the rules, so you can have whatever level of free speech that you want there. So the people that are bringing that up are people who really don't understand the context of the discussion.
Okay, I just thought maybe she was confused.
She's always confused.
Yeah, no, I don't think it has anything to do with Alzheimer's in her case.
Right.
How would we know? I mean, we really do have geriatrics running the show over there.
Oh, for sure.
No doubt. Rob, anything else?
That's all. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thanks for the call tonight. Definitely appreciate hearing from you. I mean, look, so it wouldn't surprise me if some of these people are beginning to come on to dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that.
It would surprise me if they weren't.
Right.
As the average age of a senator is probably in the 70s, right? So, I mean, come on.
It's not like they read the bills anyway, so they don't have to remember what was on page 1. They've never gotten to page 2 probably in most of the cases. So, what does it really matter? I mean, it's not like, electing young people is going to make the government better anyway.
No.
In the federal government, it's not going to get any better because it attracts a certain type of person. A position of power like that is going to attract those who are already corrupt or those who are prepared to be corrupted. They want to be, in that world.
Absolutely.
They want to be plied with offers and wealth and things like that.
I think that even if you get this great individual that somehow makes it through a process that is intended. Well, if it's not intended, maybe not intended, but clearly results in people with pretty flexible morals ending up there. I mean, there's a reason that politician is synonymous with liar and thief, right?
That's right.
I mean, the process that brings somebody like that, generally up there, even if some great person made it through that, well, it's, pretty much everybody can be bought, right? Like the saying is, every man has his price, and at the very least, that means that 99% of men have their price,
right.
And therefore, if the system can keep out that 1% of people who don't have their price, at least keep that number down to 20 out of the 100 senators, then it's the system's corrupt. Right? If you've got 80% of the people in it and they could run through what they want to run through, and the process makes it so they have people with more flexible morals make it in, you've got a crappy system to start with.
That's where we're at.
That's where we've been for a long time.
A very long time.
Yeah.
But I think that you can easily see that it's corrupt just from the fact that it's not working, and yet you can be there for 50 years. Like,
it's working for them.
Well, this is what I'm saying. It's not working for anybody else.
Right. Everyone else is the victim.
Right. You can say what you want about the politicians, any of them.
Right.
You can say what you want about them, but we were just talking about Knapernick earlier in the show. You can't say anything about the organization for which those people work. The United States government is, like any other government out there, a service organization. It's a monopoly service organization, and
you mean they serve themselves with your money and obedience?
Well, the claim is they serve you with things.
Yes.
And they wrap themselves in the flag and then just us, the serfs, we beat each other up over whether or not you're out there properly standing for the song that gives homage to this flag that these politicians are running the nation. It's nuts.
It is nuts. Vin, great having you on Free Talk Live.
Dude, I loved it. I'd love to come back and hang out with you guys. This is fantastic.
Definitely going to have you back. Check him out over at vinarmani.com, and we'll see you tomorrow night online in the meantime for us over at freetalklive.com. Happy Bitcoin Pizza Day.
Stop.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.60 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,295 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $33, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,178. Antiwar.com reports U.S. forces may not be leaving Iraq or Syria, but there aren't a lot of the Islamic State targets for them to hit anymore. This has led to a precipitous decline in the number of U.S. bombs dropped on those two countries and has the military's priorities shifting eastward towards Afghanistan. The Islamic State has lost virtually all of its meaningful territory, and to the extent that the group's forces have fled into the desert, they still aren't convenient targets for U.S. warplanes. In Afghanistan, the U.S.-backed government controls only about 50% of the territory, leaving open a lot of enemy territory to target. In recent decades, the Pentagon has kept Afghanistan in its back pocket for when things slowed down elsewhere. When the 2003 U.S. occupation of Iraq slowed down, a surge was announced in Afghanistan. When the war against the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria ratcheted up, Afghanistan was on the back burner, but now is facing new escalation. Unlike the Islamic State, where their control over territory was always very tentative, the Taliban has a lot of territory in Afghanistan in which they have a long-standing stranglehold and where they won't be readily displaced. This makes Afghanistan every bit the long-term project it was 17 years ago when the U.S. first invaded. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Walmart topped the Fortune 500 list released on Monday, and Amazon made the top 10 for the first time. The 64th annual Fortune 500 list ranks America's largest companies, representing 2/3 of the U.S. GDP, with $12.8 trillion in annual revenue. The companies on the list employ more than 28 million people. Walmart, the number one company on the list for the 6th straight year, is the first U.S. company with $500 billion in yearly sales. The retailer closed 63 Sam's Club locations in the United States to focus on other areas such as online shopping. The closed Sam's Clubs are being repurposed as delivery centers. Amazon, the e-commerce giant run by Jeff Bezos, ranked number 8 with nearly $178 billion in revenue, which is up from number 12 with $136 billion in revenue last year. Fortune attributed the gain to an increase of $70 billion in revenue over 2 years, overseas expansion to markets like India, and growth of Amazon Web Services. ExxonMobil and Berkshire Hathaway ranked number 2 and number 3 respectively on the list, with $244 billion and $242 billion each in annual revenue, respectively. Walmart and Berkshire Hathaway also topped the list in 2017. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash has the ability to use both transparent and shielded transactions, with shielded transactions using zero-knowledge proofs. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Reuters reports lava from the erupting Kilauea volcano on Hawaii's Big Island flowed towards a geothermal power plant on Monday as workers scrambled to shut it down to prevent the uncontrollable release of toxic gas.